my God, so close to a mute. That was so close to a muted start. Thank you for the sub to start things off. Appreciate that. Wasn't me. 8 months. You must have been doing your resubscription using Jeff Bezos' money. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody else, for being here. It's a beautiful Tuesday in Arizona, and it's sunny like it always is. We are in the middle of Haboob season, and what do you call those storms that come up? I forget what what is it? What's the season I'm trying to think of? Monsoon season. That's the word. So at night it rains and then it shines. The rest of the day, the golf courses are shaping up nicely. I know that's what you guys care about. As a liberal, it's one of those things that I'm a pretty big hypocrite on because I golf and that takes up a lot of water in a desert. But we can't all be perfect. Thank you for all the new subs. I got a new cartoon today. This is from Lecter, Lectrr, and I'm gonna try to repost these on Twitter. This is where I get them all. And I want to make sure that the artists get credit for it. So if you're on Twitter and you follow me, go over. You can see I retweeted this. Just follow this artist, give him a like, whatever you want to do. That was a pretty good one. I think they did a great job with the eyes there. I always like when they nail the eyes. That's beautiful. You need to take your monsoons back because they're coming over to SoCal. I don't know what to tell you, Kristen, but the way that these storms work, you guys get them first, and then they come this way. They come from the ocean, and there's no ocean in Arizona. So why don't you? Well, I think ours technically usually come up like from Tucson. Usually, what happens is Tucson gets leveled, and then like an hour and a half later, we get it. So maybe not. Maybe they're just two different storms. But I like it too. I love the lightning. I love the thunderstorms. It's nice when you get a haboob roll through and you get the dust storm. And then everything's coated in dust, and then the skies just come and they wash away all the dust. It's like Jesus's cleaning service, if you believe in that kind of stuff. All right. Today we'll be interrupted at about 11 o'clock. It turns out Trump is alive, and he's going to be speaking to the press at 2 Eastern. It's about the Department of Defense. I have a guess. I guessed last night. Jen asked what I thought it might be. I don't remember what I said. Good morning, Jen. What did I tell you I thought it might be yesterday? I think I was wrong, wasn't I?
I don't know did you make a guess? I just said I hate it here. I said. You said when I asked what it was about, you said no, it's weird. The secrecy is bizarre. I said I hate it here. And then you mentioned something about supposed to be a huge ice surge. Also, Rudy is supposed to be saying, "Oh, get a Medal of Freedom."
That's what it was. Yeah, I had seen. I think Aaron Parnas had put out a video saying that they were expecting a surge, an ice surge in major cities, and I think that maybe was thwarted this morning. This is coming from the Northern District of California. Judge ruling giving injunctive release to Gavin Newsom and the state of California. Said Congress spoke clearly in 1878 when it passed the Posse Comitatus Act. Jen, we're getting a little feedback off your mic. Prohibiting the use of U.S. military to execute domestic law. Nearly 140 years later, defendants President Trump, Secretary Pete Hegseth, the Department of Defense deployed the National Guard and Marines to Los Angeles, ostensibly to quell a rebellion and ensure that federal immigration law was enforced. There were indeed protests in Los Angeles, and some individuals engaged in violence, yet there was no rebellion, nor was civilian law enforcement unable to respond to the protests and enforce the law. Nevertheless, at defendants' orders and contrary to Congress's explicit instruction, federal troops executed the laws. The evidence at trial established that defendants systematically used armed soldiers whose identity was obscured by protective armor and military vehicles to set up protective perimeters and traffic blockades, engage in crowd control, and otherwise demonstrate a military presence in and around Los Angeles. In short, defendants violated Posse Comitatus Act. There we go. Which we all said. It's been blatant this whole time, and it'll be interesting. I don't want to necessarily do fear mongering, but this administration is like pretty easy to predict. they're just going to do whatever the fuck they want, and they don't care what courts say. And everything that they want to do happens to line up perfectly with Project 2025. So it's not hard to see where they're going. I'd imagine that today's announcement has something to do with that. I want to just see, does Project 2025... I want to see if Project 2025 says anything about Posse Comitatus. Let me see. I'm not sure. I should have done. I got this ruling right before we went live. Host is a Zionist. Shut up, Serial. Wait, who the fuck are you? Who is Serial? Serial was in here all day yesterday, chirping at me like from the left. Who?
It's Ty.
It's who?
Ty.
Who's Ty?
Do you remember Ty? He was the guy that would come on all the time. He was very pro-life.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Pro-life,
Yeah,
a little racist.
That checks out. It's attacking me from the left. I'm a Zionist.
He's now a communist.
Is he for real?
A communist. I don't know if he is for real or if he's pretending. But he went up on Good Troubles last night. I mean, he's been around. He's claiming to be a communist now.
All right, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. Project 2025 advocates for increasing federal law enforcement presence, overriding local discretion, and potentially using federal agencies more aggressively in local jurisdictions. Implementing some proposals under Project 2025 could run afoul of legal limits set by Posse Comitatus. And this is what I'm afraid of. Is that, I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but the solution to that, it says multiple sources clarify that the plan relies on executive authority to push legal boundaries, with legal experts expecting court challenges about any overreach. I'm nervous. I'm nervous that they're going to issue an emergency declaration, or I mean, I don't know that you could. I think that's where they'll start. I'm very concerned that today they're going to issue an emergency declaration. And the thing that sucks is like, there is crime. Like, crime exists. Crime will always exist. And so there's never going to be a scenario where MAGA won't be on board with this. Because even if you try and explain it to them, even if we're being realistic here, and we say like, hey, there's a ruling against this. We have local law enforcement for a reason. All they have to say is, oh, well, there's still crime. Look, here's a video of crime that happened. Therefore, we can do it. When you have conditioned millions of people in America to reject the Constitution, reject judge rulings, reject academics, and only accept the answers of one guy, like this is the thing. I don't know how we really get around this. There's not a whole lot the courts can do if he just comes out and is like, it's a national emergency. Like I don't know what we do at that point. You have to then the only option is if you can convince a bunch of Republicans to impeach him, which they won't do. And even if they do it, it doesn't matter because he'll just be like, martial law. I've got the military. That's the stage that we're at. Like, can you honestly, if we have any MAGA in here, is there a single one of you who doesn't think that Donald Trump would do this? I understand. I think it would be a fair criticism if you were saying to me like, this is hyperbolic, this is a little bit hysterical, you don't know that this is going to happen, this is a conspiracy theory. That's all fair criticism. And I'm not saying that this will happen. My concern is, can it happen? Absolutely. And will any of you stand in the way? I don't think so. I really don't, because you've been led to believe that like we're in this state of emergency. And the state of emergency for a lot of you is like if Democrats win. What percentage of Democrats or MAGA voters do you think would be on board if Trump came out and said, hey, they're going to cheat in 2026? The whole country's burning down. He said multiple times, Kristi Noem said it, that like if they didn't show up with the National Guard, Los Angeles would be in ashes. Like that's so far removed from anything truthful that I don't even know what you do with it. And nobody pushed back. You guys just let him say that. Why? Because it furthers the agenda and it fits your narrative. The narrative is that like Democrats are your enemy, and therefore you'll overlook shit because Democrats are the enemy. It reminds me that like the debate we had yesterday, the religion debate that was not well received. By the way, we hear you. It wasn't well received. It's the same thing. Like once you get convinced of something, and once you get convinced of like good versus evil, you'll justify anything. And I think that's it. Like, were there Republicans in here? If you're a Republican here and Trump comes out today and declares a national emergency so that he can send in the troops, are there any of you that will change your mind on him? Just give me a thumbs up if that would change your mind on him. IR Boogerman said, why don't you go fight for Ukraine, buddy? What? Thanks, Philip, thanks for the super chat. Wait, what, dude? What do you mean? What are we talking? Oh, because Zelensky's there? Oh, okay. Oh, I don't fight for Ukraine because I'm not a member of the military. I'm not a big fighter. I don't like these wars. You know what? We have enough technology that we could just. I am a fan of like giving missiles and drones to Ukraine. I'm good with that. Why risk people's lives? Why should I go out on the ground there? That makes absolutely no sense. There's easier ways to do this. Why are troops on the ground anywhere? What are we doing here? Why are we fighting so many goddamn wars all the time? Why is everybody so goddamn upset? Was there a single thumbs up in the chat when I asked? Not one. Not one MAGA is willing to do that. Not one of you. So pathetic you Democrats want to bring up narratives when you've literally tried to fabricate any possible good into a false negative narrative. Bro, shut the fuck up. Shut up. So who talks like that? Human beings don't talk like that. That's an example of somebody who is deeply in a cult. That's William D's, and I feel that's Bill D's nuts. I like that. That's when that's when you know you don't have anything to say. You just used a whole lot of words to say absolutely nothing, just to generically say Democrats make everything good bad and all truth not truth. That's what I'm talking about. This is why you guys will go with Donald Trump, because you just believe this dumb shit. You've built this world now where you good, Democrats evil. Democrats need to go. Immigrants need to go. Trans people need to go. Everybody, Palestinians need to go because they're such a threat to you. Your life's so fucking threatening. Anyways, we'll find out at 11. We'll see what he does. I hope I'm wrong on that. I hope that he doesn't issue a national emergency. We'll see. This was from Devin Politics on TikTok. MAGA Cult Slayer reposted this, but I just thought this was really apt for today. I won't even introduce it.
What I'm about to show you should scare every single American, no matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I have two quotes here, one from the Mustache Man and then one from Donald Trump, and they are literally the exact same. Check this out. Trump says, "Our court system is not letting me do the job I was elected to do. Activist judges must let the Trump administration deport murderers and other criminals who have been led into our country illegally without delay." Then the Mustache Man in 1942 said, "I expect the legal profession to understand that the nation is not here for them, but they are here for the nation. From now on, I shall intervene in these cases and remove from office those judges who evidently do not understand the demand of the hour." I mean, that's...
All right, Nabakun, 1018, thanks for the thumbs up. We got a Republican here with a conscience. I appreciate it. Welcome.
The exact same. The parallels in what the two of them said are impossible to ignore. Trump is openly attacking the judicial branch, one of the core pillars of American democracy. Demanding unchecked power to bypass the courts is authoritarian, plain and simple. As we can tell, it's the exact same playbook dictators like the Mustache Man have used throughout history. They claim the judges are blocking the will of the people to consolidate power. When Trump's words echo almost line for line what the Mustache Man said, it's not just a coincidence, it is a warning. This is why the judiciary exists in the first place, to prevent this type of authoritarian overreach. And if we don't take what Trump is saying seriously, then we are going to lose our freedoms.
Yeah, I think that the reason there's so many similarities is because Stephen Miller is like a student of the Nazis. Like that's how he learned. Like he knows a lot about them. He emulates them. He reenacts their policy. He reenacts their speeches. Like this guy, what's the guy's name that looks exactly like him? The propagandist for the Nazis. Somebody help me with the name. Sorry if you get banned for dropping that name. Maybe not on TikTok. Don't give me that name. What's the name? Goebbels. That's it. There it goes. There's the live restriction already. Goebbels, Joseph Goebbels. There's a reason that this all keeps happening. One is because the ideology is exactly the same, and two, because the person that shapes Donald Trump's policy is like Goebbels Jr. That's why. That's why it sounds the same every time. I wanted to show you the story about Howard Lutnik we missed. Wired magazine put out an article. I got this from Facts of Grind. And then I'll show you the article here. But I missed this article from Wired from, I think it was in July, I think.
Oh, okay. So that's the scam they're running with the tariffs. Okay, now it makes sense. Do you know Howard Lutnik? So this is Trump's Secretary of Commerce. He is the man behind the tariffs. He was also Jeffrey Epstein's next door neighbor. His sons are now running his former company, which is called Cantor Fitzgerald. They are a super sinister finance firm, and they are making absolute bank off of these tariffs by pulling the strings themselves. Here's the scam Lutnik is running. You have small American companies that have to pay the tariffs. Cantor Fitzgerald offers to loan the companies a small amount of money to cover 20% of those tariffs. In exchange, if those tariffs end up getting reversed by the courts, Cantor Fitzgerald will collect 100% of the refund of those tariffs. It is absolutely predatory lending. And here,
okay, so what Cantor Fitzgerald's done, and this happens like when you have like smaller companies that want to that like can't necessarily finance a lawsuit. They'll go to private equity and they'll get these loans that finance their lawsuit, and in return they'll get something back. So basically what they have is like there's a bunch of people that have sued this administration for IEPA violations, basically saying like the president can't do this. And there is growing, I guess, growing support for the idea that eventually these are all going to be ruled unconstitutional. We're close anyways. Like we're almost there. It's going to be like it's going to take an act of Congress. So it's likely that a lot of these companies will be able to sue and get back the money they paid in tariffs. So Howard Lutnik, this is his company, Cantor Fitzgerald, that his sons run now. Howard Lutnik is out there every day pushing for tariffs. And he also lies. We also know for sure that he lies about tariffs. He consistently says that the cost is not borne by Americans, that foreign countries pay those tariffs. And the White House response to this has been, oh, he filed all of his disclosures. This is how an oligarchy, an authoritarian regime happens. When they start doing the corruption like openly and publicly. It used to be what Howard Lutnik would do is Howard Lutnik would pay a lobbyist to get in the ears of some people from the administration or in Congress, and it would move up the chain. But they've realized with this administration, you have this small window of time, and you can just openly buy Trump, and you can do it all yourself. Now think about like Howard Lutnik's position here. Howard Lutnik's in a position where he gets to shield for the president, and he has this protective shell around him, where these are official acts from the president. And so Howard Lutnik is always going to be able to say, I was just doing my job. Like, I don't set the policy. My job is to put in the policy of the president. Yeah, my sons benefited from this, but what was I supposed to do? Meanwhile, like, who do you think gave him this idea? And even it wasn't Lutnik, by the way. But why do you think Lutnik is shilling so hard for it? Why do you think he's openly lying about it? You don't think there's any incentive? It's not like he has no financial incentive. They're not even saying that. They're just saying that he's divested, which means that he's not actually at the office, like signing the paperwork. But is he still making money? Hell yeah, he is. Are his kids still making money? Hell yeah, they are. It's so blatant and open at this point. Like, if you're not profiting from this presidency in this administration, you might get fired. That might be like the one way you lose your job. It also provides leverage for Donald Trump for all of these sycophants. You wonder why they sit around and jack him off for 3 hours, and they put that on C-SPAN. You ever want to know why like grown adults talk to another man that way? It's because all of their interests are aligned. They're all benefiting from this financially. And if they leave, if they turn on Trump, Trump may expose them, because that's all Trump would have to do. Let's say Lutnik changes his mind with Trump and he just says one thing out of line and Trump says, that's enough, you're gone. Then Trump's gonna be like, oh, I fired him because he was doing this bullshit with Cantor Fitzgerald, and Cantor Fitzgerald's making all this money off of Howard Lutnik, and I didn't like that. And you guys are all be like, look at Donald Trump, look at him. He has so much integrity. He got rid of Howard Lutnik for insider trading. He's draining the swamp. No, he just uses leverage. This is what he does every time. Every time he fires somebody, suddenly that was a member of the swamp. But when they're in the administration, oh no, these aren't swamp creatures. No. And by the way, everybody knows this. It's public information now. And if it were to get out and he were firing Lutnik for some reason, Trump would be like, oh, this is the first time hearing about this. It could be a year down the road. Oh, it's the first time hearing about this. And as soon as I heard about this, I fired him. And you guys would just eat that up. You just be like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Look at Trump draining the swamp again. By the way, $5 billion now we're saying is the value of Trump's cryptocurrency. Started a cryptocurrency company 3 days before he entered office. Completely divested, but now they've got $5 billion in cryptocurrency. What are we doing? What the fuck are you Republicans doing here? Stupid. We got some of you upset. Somebody asked while this video was going, and I'll answer it. Like, if they're like, if he's like Hitler, then why is he supporting Israel? Because I think that like it's a very big misunderstanding what the ideology of the Nazis was. The ideology wasn't I hate Jewish people. The ideology was authoritarian. The ideology was supremacist, right? That's why. So and it was about aligning interests. Right, because you that are Christians wouldn't say like, oh, it's a white supremacist organization, right? You wouldn't say that Christianity teaches you that you must commit a genocide on Jewish people, right? You wouldn't say that, and yet the church is aligned with Hitler, right? You don't apply that evenly. Don't look at the ideology. Look at what they're talking about. Look at how they blame. Look at how they find a scapegoat. Look at how they use propaganda. Look at how they use excessive power. Look at how they try and control the courts. Look at how they try and control commerce. Look at what they do to their political enemies. It's exactly the same. Like there's almost no difference between the two. The only difference is that like we haven't done a genocide. And largely, by the way, we haven't done that because most of the cruelty that has happened so far to immigrants has happened outside of our country, and we have no oversight, and it's ignored. Like, let's not forget that the guy that was the barber that came from, I think, Venezuela, that had a tattoo of his mom and his dad, and he was thrown into prison, given a life sentence in El Salvador, which now he's out. That man was raped. He was essayed. He was violently abused. People are dying in these prisons, but we have no oversight on that. Same reason that the Germans sent their prison camps to Poland. They don't put it right in front of your face. They move them out of your sight. And in America, like, God damn, are we lazy? And God damn, do we not care about other countries? As soon as they're out of the country, we just stopped caring. But we're not doing the same thing. Now we're saying, is it Uganda that we're sending people? Is that the next place we're sending people? Like, what's the difference here? What can somebody tell me? It's just it's almost like the more out in the open they are, the less Americans are willing to believe it. You find this not just like in MAGA, but like think about your like generic moderate Democrats. Look at the Cuomos. I think the Cuomos are a great example. Like they're just generic, they're moderate, they're political elites. They don't live in reality. And now they're out there like whitewashing all of this. Like, oh, everybody's just hysterical. You guys said that he was going to be just like Schmittler. And look where we are now. Yeah, look where we are now. We've got concentration camps. We have the government turning against its own people. We have them openly floating the idea of suspending the Constitution. We have the most powerful leader our country has ever had openly telling the courts, like, hey, you guys got to get the fuck out of my way or else. It's openly threatening other leaders, openly threatening states. It's the same. But the Cuomos don't want to say it. Like, what will it take for you guys to say that it's the same? Do you have to have like a full-on Holocaust and then Nuremberg trials, and then you'll be like, oh, no, it is. I mean, that's what's going to happen in Israel. Israel does this whole genocide. They're going to wipe the Palestinians out in the next like month. That's what they're saying. That's what Trump is saying. They're all saying like, here comes the rest of the genocide. They're all saying it. And at the end of that, what's going to be the result? Slap on the wrist, maybe? Like history will remember us poorly? You think we're not going to take Gaza? You think Trump's going to allow like the ICC to do something to Netanyahu? No, Netanyahu's just going to stay there. He may his travel might continue to be restricted in certain places, but he'll be fine here. We'll cover for him here. And yeah, 10 years from now, you guys will all be like, this was a bad moment for the United States. And you won't learn from that. You won't learn that like conservatism is a cancer. Conservative until what you're trying to conserve is not a white supremacist state, like it will always be this way. Until you address like real problems, until you address real inequality in this country, like conservatism will always be protecting rich white dudes. That's what it will always be in this country. Just because that's the demographics and that's the history. In another country, it could be somebody else that it upholds, right? It could be whoever else is in power. But conservatism is about maintaining power dynamics. And that's what you guys are talking about. Like, how come every one of your right-wing creators, how every last one of them is talking about women and how women are unhappy unless they're mothers? How come all of them are demonizing immigrants? How come we have like this whole onslaught of conservative content creators in America posting videos, unconfirmed videos about what's going on in the UK? Why do you think that is? Not a peep from these other countries, but if you have a country that is a white supremacist country, such as the UK, and your criticism is only levied at the brown people that are coming into your country, claiming that that's your problem, that's the whole problem, is that there's brown people, that everything was going swimmingly until then. Like, what else are we left to believe, other than you are just, maybe you don't know, but like you're just white supremacists. And the world has changed like quite a bit. Most of the rest of the world doesn't agree with us anymore. It's like us and Israel. And then the UK is like, you have this right-wing faction in the UK and in France. And there's all these right-wing factions that are trying to like move the Overton window to where America is. They're like, hey, if America can do it, we can. But I think that they've spent too much educating their citizens. They didn't do what we did. They didn't dumb down their citizenry first. You got to do that. I don't know that name said, Cuomo's are not moderates. You're crazy. There are no concentration camp. They are processed by camps to process illegals who are not supposed to even be here. You're living. What do you think a concentration camp is, dude? This is what I'm saying. Like, I think that you guys don't really grasp like what happened in Germany. I think that you see the end, that like a bunch of Jewish people died and were murdered, and you think that's the only bad part. By definition, a concentration camp is a detention facility where people are confined, usually without due process of law, under harsh and punitive conditions. You're telling me Alcatraz doesn't count as a concentration camp? Are people confined there? Yes. Did they get due process? No. Were they harsh and punitive conditions? Yes. It wasn't invented for Germany. Germany had concentration camps, and they converted their concentration camps into death camps. The death camps is the part that you guys are, maybe you're mixing up. Not all concentration camps end in the same way. We had concentration camps here where we housed Japanese people during World War II. Like, ironically, at the same time they had concentration camps there, we had concentration camps here. And guess what? History has taught us that both of those were wrong. that the concentration camps we had here in America for Japanese people, that was wrong too, because concentration camps are wrong. But then when it happens right in front of your face, like it's almost like you just don't want to believe that you are these people. But that's what they believed too. They all also believed that they were justified. Everyday people in America and everyday people in, let's use America for example. Everyday people in America were willing to do this because they saw what happened at Pearl Harbor. And they said, Japanese people, Pearl Harbor, therefore Japanese people, bad. Right? Are we in agreement that's why they did it? How did you guys get to a point where you're cool with concentration camps for people who are here illegally? How'd you become cool with that? They showed you a bunch of videos. They talked about Lake and Riley non-fucking stop. They lied to you about eating the pets. They told you that these were swarms of military-aged men. Like, how did you get cool with this? Years of propaganda got you to this point where you felt like there was no other option. And you felt like there was no other option because they keep telling you there's no other option. They keep telling you of this fear and this danger to you all the time. They're like, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. Look, the Biden administration's not stopping it. Oh, in fact, the Democrats want more of it. They want you all to die. There's no stopping it. We must throw them in a concentration. And then you're like, yeah, we got to do it. We have to. But none of that shit was happening. I would challenge all of you to go back and revisit the past and just go look at it like claim by claim. How many of them turned out to be true? Most of them didn't. Most of them, they're still saying 15 million illegal immigrants came into our country under Joe Biden. That number could not be further from anything true. There is no reputable source that gives you that number. That is a made up fucking number. And the reason that all of you guys recite that number, or 12 million or 20 million, whatever number it is, it's always over 10 million, is because you have a bunch of politicians who have been screaming that at you. Why? Because they needed you to be scared. Because imagine what Republicans would have run on had we not had a border crisis. Can you imagine that primary? What are we running on? Well, we're running, these Democrats are exploding the debt. Well, you guys exploded the debt worse. These Democrats have inflation. Yeah, but like, are you really going to believe that inflation wasn't COVID? The whole world had it? What would you have run on? You have no policies. Trump ran on zero policy. And you all admit it too. Every time we get you up here for a discussion, every one of you admits that you voted for Trump I voted for Trump for closed borders. Okay. How's it going? Going pretty good? What if Dems run on except hate and fear? That's the thing. Like, bro, did you read? Can you read? You can go to Kamala Harris 2024 right now, and you can look at what she ran on. You can look at her issues. And I could do the same thing with you guys with Agenda 47. But then I'm like, wait a minute. You guys are running on this? You're like, he's not really running on this. The entire election was Trump supporters telling me that stuff on his website wasn't what he was actually going to do. Every policy they put up there, you guys pretended didn't exist, and now he's doing it. Yeah, I do think it's silly for you guys. I think that it's silly. I think it's a little pathetic. I think that you should be better. Here's the $5 billion I was talking about. By the way, it's Fox News talking about this $5 billion that Trump now has in cryptocurrency.
The Trump family just launched a brand new cryptocurrency. It is called WLFI. Lauren, how much has the Trump family...
Real quick, Faded, let me just help you with this. You said if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. We had a border, dipshit! We had a fucking border! This is what I'm talking about. Like, you guys just speak in catchphrases that you've been taught. I live in a border state. There's a border. It's always been there. Those lines of people coming into our country, they were waiting at the border. They had asylum claims. We had a border. We had border security. During the Biden administration, we apprehended a record number of illegal border crossers. A record high.
We've got new subscribers.
They did more than any administration in history to go after illegal border crossers. And then we had legal immigrants who were asylum seekers that waited, and they were allowed to come in. Because that's what our law says. If you don't like that law, you can change that law. But this is what I'm talking about, these Republicans. Everybody remember this, that every single time you bring something up about Trump overextending the executive powers, every time they will respond with a fucking catchphrase that is not based in reality. Every time. Because if you guys say what's real, it doesn't justify what's happening. If you were honest about the border, if what you said instead was, yeah, there was a lot of countries where you had immigrants fleeing their countries, coming to the United States, seeking asylum. And most of those people didn't have legitimate asylum claims. But because our asylum laws were the way that they were, we were required to let them in by law. If you told the truth and said that, then you wouldn't be able to justify what Trump's doing. That's why they don't tell you the truth. That's why they speak in hyperbolics. That's why they tell you that the border was open and everybody was pouring through, because then you're okay with authoritarianism. But if they lay out the facts to you, it's not crazy enough for them to do what they're doing. That's why they always lie. But here's I'm done on that. Here's the crypto stuff.
The Trump family just launched a brand new cryptocurrency. It is called WLFI. Lauren, how much has the Trump family itself accumulated of this? How much?
Yeah, for World Liberty Financial, and the Wall Street Journal says it's $5 billion. So this coin, WLFI, is currently the 33rd largest coin by market cap, about $6 billion worth, according to CoinGecko. Public markets, we have a valuation for it. The Wall Street Journal says this token is the family's most valuable asset, exceeding their property portfolio.
But they can't sell those tokens. They can't do it.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. Correct. Not yet.
My goodness me.
So what this is, the purchases are governance tokens. So for like crypto exchanges like Coinbase or I think crypto.com, Binance, on exchanges like that, you can buy these tokens and they're used for governance, meaning that it gives you voting shares. So it's making some of these cryptocurrencies essentially publicly traded, right? Or publicly available. So if you buy these governance tokens, then you get to make decisions. That's what this is. And they've got $5 billion in governance tokens, meaning they can shape the policy, they can shape the direction. Donald Trump can kind of pick winners and losers. And then if you're a foreign entity or you're an entity here in the United States and you want to bribe Trump, but you don't want to hand him a check, you can just do it this way. You can just go in and buy a cryptocurrency. You can buy these governance tokens. You could trade these governance tokens. Or you can go to his crypto and you can buy $10 million worth of his crypto and he's going to pick up fees on that. Who cares if you sell it a month later, right? Or you can sell it off slowly. The scam is right in front of your face. It's right in front of your face. They're scaring you about immigrants while they are bleeding you dry.
Eye-popping numbers. He is the crypto president, the first one ever. Yeah. A lot of crypto-friendly legislation, regulation.
What it amounts to is it's crypto-friendly legislation coming from the President of the United States, who is in turn cashing in on the crypto phase. Personally, his family.
Conflict of interest. They say no, but that's how it appears.
That's right.
Not yet. We're not ready to go there yet, says Fox Business. We're not quite ready to say conflict of interest here. Okay. I appreciate you, Fox News. At least, thank you for at least reporting something. We were on that, I think, 2 months ago. All right, let's go to Harry Enton, everybody's favorite pollster. We got some new polling coming out of New Jersey and Virginia. Some polling that will make Democrats feel good.
These two races are the biggest flashing red siren signs for Republicans.
Let's see. Andrew Cuomo's put COVID patients in people's homes. Lots of them passed away, yet he's a moderate. Wait, what about Andrew Cuomo's not moderate? What are you on about? Alligator Alcatraz has AI conditioned tents with lawyers on hand to handed them. Jesus, Jesus. Alligator Alcatraz has AI conditioned tents with lawyers on hand to handed them their the deportations on process. They are not the same as WW2. All right. Amy said, could you imagine if they took facts to show violent crime and murder highest in conservative areas, that the P3DOs and most violent are on the conservative crowds? Even the FBI has young, white, conservative male. Yeah, I don't like Andrew Cuomo's a moderate by his policy prescriptions. He's a moderate Democrat. He's a corporatist Democrat, and he's also not that bright. Yeah, I don't know what your argument is there.
I would say that these two races are the biggest flashing red siren signs for Republicans. Why is that? Let's take a look right now at the prediction market odds in both New Jersey and in Virginia. And in both cases, the Democrats are favored. Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey, 89% chance of winning according to the prediction markets. How about Abigail Spanberger in the great Commonwealth of Virginia? We're talking a 94% chance of winning. I was looking at the polling data as well. The Democrats in both these races hold high single-digit leads. Obviously, Glenn Youngkin, currently the Republican governor of Virginia, was able to win there. And in New Jersey, the Democrats barely squeaked by back in 2021. Right now, the polling leads in both those states are larger for the Democrats. They're in better position than they were back in 2021. That's why in both cases, the Democrats are heavily favored. And as I said earlier on, to me, this is a flashing red siren warning sign for Republicans.
Counterpoint, there has always been a lot of debate around how much you can take from any one race and extrapolate and apply it to any future race. Why should Democrats or voters nationally care about what's happening in New Jersey and Virginia?
Right. Okay. So you see the Democrats leading in both of these races, right? Predicted to win in both of them. Why? Why should people nationally care? Why am I saying it's a...
Hey, Boston Bride. Sorry, it didn't show up on mine. It went to Jen's, but appreciate the super chat. Good to see you, brother. I hope you're still around. I haven't seen you in a while.
Flashing red siren for Republicans. If the same party has won in the New Jersey and Virginia gubernatorial races dating back since 1989, guess who won the U.S. House?
Sorry, guys, volume's bad on this.
6 out of 7 times, the same party wins in the nationally, and they win the U.S. House of Representatives if, in fact, they win in both Virginia and New Jersey. So what happens...
That's a cool stat. That's a really interesting
This
look,
is exactly right, because...
I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting in that, like, this is what happens in purple states. Like, purple states are good bellwethers. Purple states have been good bellwethers. Donald Trump has been a very strange... I'm going to do some election fraud stuff at the end of this. Like, maybe there's some questions about it. It has been interesting that, like, the bellwether states are going more and more blue, but then Donald Trump wins. But then, like, down ballot, they're blue.
Because the bottom line is this: if you're not a resident of Virginia and New Jersey, why should you care? It's because nationally these races do in fact have predictive power if in fact the same party wins in both of those states. And currently Democrats are favored to win in both, and history suggests therefore 6 out of 7 times they are predicted to in fact win the U.S. House of Representatives the following year.
The debate I'm talking about between, like, don't make too much out of this and extrapolate and take it to that is generally people say that around special elections, right? Because of who turns out for a special election versus...
All right, I'm going to skip there. Now I want to show you what maybe is driving some of this. Here was, let's see. It's going to work. I had a broken link. Here was Harry Enton, some polling that I think I meant to play it on Friday. So this was from, I think it was Friday. No, it was Monday. It was Monday. What did I just do?
Voters have turned on.
Gotta have a speechify there. All right. Here's some polling about tariffs.
It's not just the base. It was the overall American public, and they have turned against tariffs the same way college football pundits have turned against Arch Manning after his performance in Columbus.
Hold on a second. Let me see if I can move this volume. Let me see if I can get this volume up at all. Sorry, give me 1 second. That might help.
You go back to November of 2024. Look, the popular position was favor. They favored new tariffs on imported goods, 52%, 48% opposed. You go to this side of the ledger, look at that. The opposition up like a rocket. We're talking about 60% opposing new tariffs compared to just 40% who favored. So it was majority favor back when Trump was reelected in November of 2024. Now it's a clear 3 in 5 Americans oppose it. The Americans have gotten a taste of the tariffs and they spit it right out.
So is the taste paying more? I mean, because that's how economy...
You guys are crazy. Like, this is what I'm talking about, Lucy. Like, I can't believe how you Dems want illegals back in shipping containers and blacks to be slaughtering each other. Like, what the fuck, party of death? Nobody wants that. Like, this is what I'm saying about your whole fucking cult. You guys cannot live in reality. Like, you can only speak in hyperbolics. Because if you guys talk honestly about what's going on, it sounds fucking ridiculous. And that's why you come here every day. And I think that's why some people like this show, is because we're just honest about what they're saying. right? Like we don't have to speak hyperbolically. I can play these clips. I can play these clips time after time after time in context. I don't have to make this giant leap. In order for you guys to make us seem irrational, you literally have to say things like, we want to eliminate black people and put immigrants in shipping containers. I mean, like that goes to show you don't have much of an argument.
Economists have always described this as actually a tax on consumers.
Yes, exactly. Why is the opposition up like a rocket? Well, it all comes down to money out of the pocketbook, right? Impact of tariffs on prices. Look at this in the short term. 77% of Americans now agree they raise prices in the short term. Look at this itty bitty number at the
whoopsies. That math is catching up, huh? I see. I think you guys all thought because you couldn't do math that nobody could do math, but it turns out people can do math.
Bottom, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. When you can count it on your own hand, you know it's a small percentage. Just 4% of Americans believe that in the short term, tariffs decrease prices. Long term, look, this has long been the Donald Trump argument, right? That even if they're short term pain, in the long term will pay off. Not according to Americans. Impact of tariffs on prices, even over the long term, look at that. 50% say increase, just 25%, just half the level, say decrease. And while 25% in this particular case is better than 4%, 25% is way less than 50% of Americans who say that, in fact, prices will increase over the long term because of tariffs.
Can you do me a favor and go find who the 4% are?
Even CNN can't stop him. In the face of reality and polls and math, I will double down on my love for Donald Trump. I will just talk about how great he is. I will not address a single concern. Keep doing it, guys. Totally going to throw off that cult scent. We're going to keep pointing out that you act like you're in a cult. I'm going to do it all fucking day. We do it all the time. I show you polling. You act like you're in a cult. Keep doing it. This is great. This is good for us. Lee said they live in a world of whataboutism while they're all getting screwed and then they beg for more. They're fools. Send it to Zach, said the right narrative and rhetoric literally checks every box for a psyop, according to multiple NRO and NSA officials. Well, it's a psyop for sure. It's 100. It's straight out of central casting. I'm working on something, actually. I'm not going to spoil it. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. But I'm working on something with that. I think I read that one.
I will go ahead. I will do some
on
the street reporting.
Americans.
I'm sure I can go out to Times Square and see what I can find out there.
Okay, but in all seriousness, from the tariff policy to the trade policy.
She just called me a neon Nazi. I like that.
How is it impacting Trump's overall approval?
Right, okay. If this was happening in a bubble, right, and it was, okay, I don't like tariffs, but it isn't impacting my overall view of Trump, I think Trump would be like, forget about it, doesn't matter. But this is why the political implications are so important, because Fox News literally asks, what's the top reason that Trump's doing a bad job? What ranks as number one? The economy, and tariffs ranks as number one.
All right, here we go. Guys, get your bingo cards out, because now they're attacking CNN. I want you to see something real quick. Who said that? Where was that? CNN? Oh, yeah, CNN tells the truth. Oh, look at CNN, Communist News Network. You see this under the picture of Donald Trump? There's a dash there, and then it says Fox News. It's a Fox News poll, you dumb fucks. They're reporting on a Fox News poll. There's a Fox News poll. It says Fox News. Hope you guys got that on your bingo card.
One reason why those who disapprove of Trump think he's doing a bad job, it comes right back to tariffs. The bottom line is this: when prices go up, presidential approval ratings go down, and that's exactly what we are seeing in the polling
Perhaps this was the deflection that Ron Brownstein was talking about in a segment in the last hour about the increase in these ICE raids, because they're deflecting from something the president is not happy about.
That's often something that Donald Trump will do, is if he sees something he doesn't like, he's going to go in the other direction and try and bring the American mindset with him.
All right. Terry Anton, good to be with you.
Nice to be with you.
MAGA folks, please don't write in all caps. Your messages are not more important than others. All it does when you write in all caps is make us more concerned that none of you can read or spell. I would highly recommend not writing in all caps. But if you do, also, you'll probably get muted eventually. So please don't use all caps in the chat. Appreciate that. All of this, and now the right is full on. They don't want to talk about the numbers for Trump anymore. They don't want to talk about any of this, so they're naturally going to go all white nationalist on us. Let me catch up on some super chats and some comments, and then I'll play this video. I think I got all those. Did I miss any here? don't think I missed him here. Okay. So I've noticed this. Elon is back. Either I just haven't been shown Elon or he's been quiet on Twitter for a while. I'm not 100% sure. But now Elon's doing, I think he's just trying to get involved in British politics, and he's trying to do it in the same way. Listen, if you're from the other side of the pond, please know you don't have to do the same dumb shit that we did. And if you had real news organizations over there or real content creators that you followed that were telling the truth, they would tell you that this hard shift towards white nationalism and anger towards immigrants, it doesn't work out well. It divides your country. It's incredibly expensive. It doesn't really do anything to solve like crime. It doesn't do anything really to solve drugs. All it's going to do is round up a bunch of well-meaning people who weren't hurting anybody, and you're going to put them in concentration camps, and the rest of the world will view you as disgusting. And the rest of the world, who is accelerating past the West, who's accelerating past the UK, who's accelerating past the United States, they will all look at us in our rearview mirror. Don't do white nationalism. It's fucking stupid. And I do want to do this because I want to be fair. I want to be fair to this woman, and I want to be fair to all of you who have a news feed or a social media feed that shows you, in this case, it's going to be brown immigrants committing violence, and some of them in the name of their religion. I want to be fair. I want to acknowledge that that is an issue. I don't want to pretend that it doesn't happen. But I also want to point out the flaw in how you guys deal with this. And it is dead-brained, and it does far more harm than good, and it never, ever solves the problem. You create more radicals. You can look at this in the history of the Middle East. Every time a Western power has entered into the Middle East, it has created more radicalists. Every time they go after like jihadists, and they don't do so with targeted attacks, where they go into cities and they bomb cities and innocent civilians are taken out or they are mistreated, that creates more radicalists. So if you have a problem, for example, in the UK, or let's just say in the United States, using an example, do we have drug traffickers who run with gangs, who commit violence, who abuse women, who traffic children? Yes, all of those things happen. Every one of those things happen. But if your response to that is to show up at people's workplace and arrest people who have nothing to do with that trade solely because they look similar or they come from a similar place, you are creating radicalists. I don't know what the percentage is, but you are going to create radicalists, because when people feel they are treated unjustly, and they are treated unjustly, when they are held accountable for the actions of other people, and they are treated inhumanely because of that, you become their enemy. They become more and more radical. I just want you to know that, like, there has never been a history where, like, the heavy hand of the government coming down and taking a group of people based on race or ethnicity or gender or religion or sexuality, taking all of those people as a collective and removing them, that has never worked out. It has always led to more pain, and it has always led to people being thrown in prison. So I don't know who this is. It looks like Avery.day. She says she lives in London or lived in London. Her accent sounds very American. I know nothing about her. I just know that Elon Musk reposted this video, and I want to show you like how this works. I also want to say that, like, her feeling fear and feeling unsafe in her city is a real fear. And I believe, like, women specifically are going to fear men. And they're specifically going to fear men who they have either interacted with or they've seen videos of similar situations happening. I can understand all of this. But I just want to point out, as she goes through this, that she's not going to have a lot of personal experience to back this up, meaning that most of her fears are driven by stuff she's seeing or hearing.
I spent the last 3 years living in England as an American, and everyone always asks me if it's as bad as they say.
I guess I missed it. She's an American.
To which my answer is always, it is worse. You have no idea how this affects your day-to-day life, how unsafe I felt living in London. And I lived in West London in Zone 1, which was like about as nice as it gets. And I had my phone stolen multiple times right out of my hand, because what they do is they wear masks and then they'll take their little e-bikes and they'll come and grab your phone out of your hand. And they do it all the time. It's like known. They'll stalk you. They'll follow you.
Okay. So she says she got her phone stolen. Let's just take her at her word that she got her phone stolen. Is that a problem? Yes. It's a problem literally everywhere. Everywhere, like everywhere I've ever been as a tourist, they tell you not to keep your hand out because your phone will get stolen. This is, again, this is brought to you by incredibly wealthy people coming into an area where there's maybe not as much wealth. That's a significant amount of money, and there's something you need to do something to prevent that crime. Sounds like it happened to her, but then she's acting like it happens to everybody. I reached out. I have friends in London. I've asked them, is this a significant problem? They're like, not where we live. I don't know. I've seen videos of it. I've never seen it happen to me. It's not like everywhere on the street this is happening. Secondly, if this keeps happening to you, in order for this to happen, you have to be standing next to a street with your phone out. I don't know how often that's happening. Let's just pretend that it does happen. But then I want you to hear like the other stuff she says that she actually doesn't have evidence of.
And then they'll take their little e-bikes and they'll come and grab your phone out of your hand. And they do it all the time. It's like known. They'll stalk you. They'll follow you. They use intimidation tactics.
Do you have it? Do they? Because she's speaking very generically. They will who's they? A criminal will stalk you. Okay. Are there other criminals that may stalk you? Are there white guys there that will stalk you? Are there people that aren't Islamic that will stalk you? Yeah, of course that happens. This is the reality for women everywhere. This is an argument against men. I want to be clear on that, because if you're gonna link this to like radical Islam, which is what they're trying to do, or Muslims in general, you'd have to explain why it also happens other places. Why does it happen in South America? Why does it happen in the United States? Why does it happen in Canada? All of these things she's describing right now literally happen in every country amongst all ethnicities. If this happens where I live in Mesa, Arizona, and it's most likely going to be a white guy who does that to you in Mesa, Arizona. So do we remove all white guys from Mesa, Arizona? I would say no. I would say that maybe the fact that I'm a white guy means I don't have to deal with the crimes of another white guy who steals a cell phone. I don't think that I am a threat to somebody because of my skin color. I don't think I'm a threat to somebody because of my beliefs. You're a threat to somebody when you are a threat to somebody. And in the UK, what we find in almost all these instances is this is crime. These are oftentimes members of gangs or organized crime syndicates, whether it's on a big level or a small level. Crime happens. It happens no matter your religion, your race, your ethnicity, your political affiliations. Crime is across the board. It happens. So what she's talking about in reality is she's a woman and she should worry about this stuff, because every woman on earth, no matter where they live, worries about this.
Constantly looking over your shoulder. I wouldn't dream of walking home alone at night. I'd always take a cab. You have to constantly live in fear and with the expectation that something bad is going to happen. And it's
why? You have to, you always, again, she's saying, I'm always looking over my shoulder. This is a reality for me. I'm scared. Oh, fair enough. But does that have anything to do with the fact that there are Muslim men that commit these crimes? Does that mean that only Muslim men commit these crimes? I've looked at the data. There is, and we don't have updated data, but if you look in the UK specifically, if you look at convictions, Muslim men do get convicted at a higher rate than white men. That is a true fact. Now I haven't dug into that data. I don't know exactly why. I don't think any of you guys know exactly why. We're all on the same level. But the data that I've seen, I think it's like 8,000 crimes or something like that. does not justify deporting everybody else who looks like that or everybody else who shares that religion. This is the flaw in your in how you guys are being led. You are led to believe that this woman who was a victim of crime also is a victim of toxic masculinity, also is a victim of men in general, because men are committing crimes against women at much higher rates. The source I had on that crystal baller, I looked at it this morning. I think I pulled it from a Guardian article. And the Guardian article floats some different possibilities. These are poorer neighborhoods. You potentially can have biased juries. You need an in-depth look at that data. That's why I'm not drawing a conclusion. I'm being safe on that. But the reality is that there is crime happening. There are, like, we should not pretend that a group of radical Muslims would not treat people inhumanely. Just like we shouldn't conclude that a group of radical Christians would not treat people inhumanely. I don't like religion. Most religions, especially when there's like a savior or a singular God or a singular prophet, all of those religions can be used to justify heinous acts. I was a Mormon. My friend was somebody tried to murder my friend, and they used their Mormon beliefs for that murder attempt. There were multiple murders growing up where I lived in American Fork. Can't even remember the documentary that was about it, but there was a family of Mormons who turned radical, and they started murdering people. There was a bomber in Salt Lake City who faked being Mormon, and then he started blowing people up, and it radicalized people. Like, this happens in religion. People get radicalized. So I'm not going to pretend that, like, radical fundamentalist Muslims are not a problem. It's a fucking problem. It's also a fucking problem when it's a Christian. I don't care what religion it is. If you are using your religion or hiding behind your religion to justify acts of crime, then it is a problem. I don't like the like when jihadists say, like, death to the West, when they attack people for their faith, when they say, like, Christianity needs to be wiped from the earth, that's a problem. We can't pretend that that doesn't exist. It absolutely exists. But the solution to that is not taking everybody else who shares that religion or shares that skin color and punish them for those crimes. It never gets to the root, and that's where I think, like, Republicans miss it. You are not interested in getting to the root problem here. The root problem is fundamentalist religious people. That's the root problem. This idea that, like, if somebody is evil, you can justify actions against them. And the reason I think Republicans don't ever get to that level is because you're going to have to acknowledge that we also have that here with dudes that look like you. Right? Like, we have radical Christian violent extremists in America. You have them in the UK also. So if you break it down to that level, you're going to have to acknowledge that the problem isn't Islam. The problem is radical religious people. That's the problem. It's not just Islam, but you guys don't want to go there. And it's ironic that, like, you'll never hear a peep from Elon Musk about radical white Christian nationalists. But if it's a brown person, oh Lord, we're going to hear about it. If it's a black person, oh Lord, we're going to hear about it. If you're going to combat one, combat all. Just be against all. I am against all radical religious extremists. I think that there's something that needs to be studied, and we need to do something about that, because they do commit violence. They can be convinced that you're evil, I'm good, so any mistreatment I give to you is justified because you're evil.
Always at the hands of migrants. And so much of it goes unreported and undocumented that it's like, it is so much worse than people understand. And
she lived in London for 3 years. And somehow is an expert. This is how they get you, too. They say, look, if I showed you the real numbers, you wouldn't be blown away. Because if you look at the real numbers, you're like, oh, there's a slight problem here. But, like, overall, like, in the UK, just like in America, crime is down. If I give you the numbers, you're not gonna buy into my hysterics. So what I'm gonna add to this is, you know what, though? You also can't trust the numbers. You have to trust your gut. You have to trust your feelings. You have to know that the only reason the numbers don't line up with what I'm telling you right now is because they're hiding it, because they don't want to admit it. I think they hide number. I think people hide numbers all the time. But how come they never show the justification here? Where's these hidden numbers? And if you do have hidden numbers, like like in America, what crime goes unreported most? Places where people don't feel like they have power. So like in immigrant communities, oftentimes crime will go underreported because they're afraid of what will happen to them as a byproduct of reporting that crime. Where I grew up in Utah at Brigham Young University, there were thousands of essays that went unreported because women would be alone with a man, which was against the rules. And so when they went and reported a crime where a man essayed them, the school would kick them out for being alone with a man in a bedroom. And so these women were forced to choose, like, do I choose reporting a crime that happened to me and give away my education, or do I just stomach it and move on? And they just stomached it and moved on. Why does the right insist on only believing the hyperbolic shit? Why are all of your beliefs like 30 steps right of where the data is? We could all disagree, but the distance you get from where the data is remarkable. Like, you see the line of data and you sprint as far right as you possibly could go and make the furthest leaps you possibly can make. And that's what this is. And Elon is retweeting this because he knows that what gets him clicks is this victim shit. I guess I'll give it away a little bit. I've boiled it down to this. Like, I think MAGA is just being perfectly. All MAGA wants to do every single day is wake up and be a fucking victim. To the point now where, like, even though they have control legal battles as their own personal battles so that they can join in and be a victim with Donald Trump. You guys are just desperate to be victims. Always. And that's this video. She wasn't a victim of any of these things that she's talking about. And she made a whole ass video about it. She was a victim, apparently, of one thing, which was getting her cell phone stolen. But all these other things, she wasn't a victim of. Makes a whole ass video about it. And then you got men here, like conservative men, a billionaire, Elon Musk, like, yes, this is our plight. This is our struggle. I am co-opting this struggle with you. Look at all of us. We are all victims together. And then you got a bunch of dudes here in the chat. They're like, oh, I'm an alpha. No, bitch, you're a victim. You're a perpetual victim. You can't stand when somebody else gets hurt and you don't get to be the victim. Like, is that not what they just did with another school shooting? Kids died, and all MAGA wants to talk about is, can you believe that they didn't accept our prayers? We were attacked on this day. Children are dead and you choose to attack us? And all we said is like, hey, could you do something more than just pray? Like, sorry, your prayers aren't cutting it. Like, go ahead and pray, but like also do something. And you're like, how dare you? We're all victims together. I pray. I believe in Jesus too. So now I'm a victim. And you forgot all about the kids. Where's Trump? You didn't go be at the victim. Where's Vance? They're not doing anything? Well, we already did our thoughts and our prayers.
It affects your life in ways that you don't understand. I really hope that the U.S. learns from this and sees this, because the only way that these people got in are through leftist ideologies, open borders, virtue.
That's not a leftist ideology. That's a far-right ideology. Open borders is what libertarians want. It's one of the places where like libertarians and like real lefties, it's where we disagree. Lefties believe in like some law. Libertarians believe in no law. This is a far right belief, open borders. Nobody on the left believes in open borders. There's not a single solitary fucking one of us who has ever advocated for open borders. That's a libertarian belief. It's one of the ways I'm different from libertarians. Like when I crossed over, like I do believe in borders. I think borders are good. I'm fine with it. No, this is not a left-leaning belief. This is just dumb-brained. And look, for whatever you want to say about this girl, like, I don't know what she does with her life. I don't know how educated she is. I don't know how accomplished she is. But it's very clear that where she's speaking from right now is fucking privilege. The privilege to get millions of views and get retweeted by Elon Musk without doing a single solitary bit of research and just repeating shit that you've heard. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, lady? Nobody is for open borders. Nobody. But again, it's another MAGA talking point. It's the only way to make yourselves seem sane, because when we're like, hey, we want sensible border policies where it's easier to immigrate here if you want to come here and work. If you're coming here for the right reasons, we want it to be easier. We want our asylum laws to make sense, and we want people to feel comfortable coming to our country either to visit or to live. And as long as they're doing it legally, great. Like, let's make it easier for them. And you guys can't say that. You can't be like, these Democrats, they want it to be a little bit easier to immigrate, and they want a more sensible border solution. And they want people that are coming here that just want to work or be with their families, they want it to be possible. And they think that if you're here and you have a baby and your kid's an American, maybe you should be able to stay there with your kid. If you said that, people would be like, yeah, that's not that crazy. So you have to be like, oh, it's open borders. There's no such thing as open border leftists. There's not. Like, there's probably some communists who, like, they don't believe in government, so they're not on the left, right? They're in their own world, and libertarians. And those are both two people who, like, they're like, in a perfect world where there's no such thing as government, those are the people who don't do borders. Everybody else is like, yeah, we do borders.
Signaling DEI initiatives. Keir Starmer himself recently said that the greatest threat to the UK is Islamophobia, not Islam. I mean, he's literally paying for them to come in and rape women and children.
You think that's what he's doing? You see how hyperbolic every fucking time they have to be hyperbolic. He's literally paying them to come in. Oh, he is? Oh, that's what he's doing? He's paying them? Where's that data? Because I looked for that data. I also looked at what Keir Starmer said. He said that right now, like, you know what crime is rising at the highest rate in the UK right now, according to Keir Starmer? I haven't checked it. I'm going from his quote. Violent crimes against Muslims. It's the fastest rising crime. Because of shit like this. Because she sees this, somebody has deep-seated hatred towards Muslims, and they start beating them. I saw a video this morning that blew my fucking mind. It was these people like beating up two women. They were yelling at these women. One woman had like a bottle in her hand, and she started walking towards them. And the guy ran at her like with an umbrella, threw her to the ground. And then another friend came in and threw her to the ground. And it was like, dude, what are you doing? Just walk away. And the headline is like, it's always like, look at these filthy immigrants. Like, yeah, you're just hateful people. And so you're not willing to tell the whole story. What does this type of rhetoric lead to? It leads to you guys being more violent, which will lead to like Muslim neighborhoods being more violent back towards you because they'll want to protect themselves. And then you guys will point at that and you'll be like, see? You attack people over and over again until they react. And then you're like, look, we told you. We're not going to discuss the fact, like, you don't think that there's any correlation between some of these people being upset and the massive rise in Islamophobic crime in the UK? UK, don't make our mistake. Don't listen to dipshits. Don't listen to people who can't give you data. Don't listen to these hysterical little stories. Go solve the actual problem. If you have a problem with fundamentalist Muslims, arrest them. Break up their groups. Break up their gangs. Break up however they're communicating. Go do your fucking job and investigate them, and then put those people in jail. Because I promise you're not going to have a bunch of regular everyday Muslims be like, let them out. It's not going to happen. You're not going to start a war that way.
To commit crimes at higher rates. It's sickening. It's disgusting. It's a government against its own people. It's created two-tier justice, and this is all through leftist ideologies. And we are so lucky in America that we have an ocean separating us from Europe right now. But if we don't learn from their failures and their fall, which is what's going to happen, their fall, we deserve what's coming for us. And what's coming for us is ugly.
Yeah. Historically speaking, countries fall because they refuse to run out immigrants. Historically speaking, that's what happened. Can somebody give me an example of that? I could point to a lot of countries who fell because of the way that they othered people. We could look at that. That happens all the fucking time. Where's the country that fell because they refused to run immigrants out? I think you guys are going to say America. I think you're going to say that because that's how you feel. All this pain and anxiety that you feel economically in this country is not due to immigrants. It's due to trickle down fucking economics. It's due to a completely rigged economic system where like your chance of being rich is slim. Just like statistically speaking, most of you will never be rich. Most of you are living paycheck to paycheck. You just statistically speaking, looking at the people that are here today, most of you are living paycheck to paycheck. Most of you have no upward mobility. Most of you have real job insecurity right now. Most of you are concerned that your job might not exist in a year. That's the reality that we're living in. And so what would Elon Musk want to do? Let's just say Elon Musk, who has more wealth than anybody else in the world, would he want to be like, you know what? The system that made me is the problem. Or would he say, maybe the immigrants are the problem? You think Elon Musk is going to be like one of those people who self-reflects and be like, oh, actually, this system that was built that allowed me to be a multi-billionaire with companies that are not profitable, it's probably not that system, though. It's probably not that system. It's probably immigrants. That's what it was. It's easy. This is what conservatism is. Take the easy answer, take the simple answer, take the hyperbolic answer, pretend it's reality, and then you don't have to think anymore. You can just be angry. You can get back to like what you want to do, which is be professional victims all the fucking time for no reason. Like all this stuff, everything that you guys are against, everything that you guys talk most about, immigration and LGBTQ issues, they have not hurt you one bit. Most of you have never been affected by any of it. You just like it's just an easy out for you. You get to scapegoat somebody. That's the easy way. Ruby said the devil is a Democrat. Fact check that. If you can prove to me that the devil exists, we can fact check it. But we're gonna have to figure out that the devil exists first. Amy said prayer is selfish. It's like meditation. It makes the person doing it feel better. It's their pacifier. Amy also said the folks in the chat who think all Muslim countries are violent. People vacation in Muslim countries: Maldives, Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, so many more. Eli MCT said 2.9% in Canada, 1.34% in the USA. Population of Muslims in England is only 6.7%. Joseph said my wife was just in London and she loved it. No, she didn't love it. She was a victim of crime. And Asa Sophia said keep on making these MAGA folks uncomfortable. Jen, you want to do some quick announcements real quick? About 11. You're here? Maybe. Try saying illegal immigration. Illegal immigration. I say, by the way, like that's another thing that the right loves to be victims at. Like, I know that some people try and correct that. Like, and I know people sometimes get mad at me for saying illegal immigration. I still say it. See how you don't get canceled? See how I do this every day and I can say that? Hey.
Hey. Did you get Bradley's memo?
Why don't Republicans like Jehovah's Witnesses? Republicans don't like any witnesses. Thanks, Brad.
All right, so
you're gonna come in with a ugh. Where's the energy? Start over. We need a little more energy out of you today.
I don't. You act like energy is a thing that I do.
Sometimes you have it every once in a while.
I mean, if I'm laughing at someone or something.
All right.
But yeah, no, it's plugging along, living the dream. Nightmares are dreams.
Oh, we're about to have the Trump thing soon, huh?
Yeah, that should be coming up in
about 10 minutes.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
So, anyways, top left-hand corner is the balance of our gift goal. We rely on your donations to keep the show going each day, Monday through Friday from 9:30 Pacific to 1. So if you guys could help us out with that, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all go towards knocking out that remaining balance. If you haven't subscribed to us already, please do so wherever you're watching. On Amazon, on Twitch, you can use your Amazon Prime sub, so you don't have to use your own money. We have 4 different memberships on YouTube, or you could just do a regular subscription so you can be notified when we go live and other videos. If you guys could engage with our content, that would be awesome. Also, if you guys disagree with RTP, you can come on and talk to them. And how you do that is you look at that Venmo username. That is my Discord handle. So Jen with 2 N's, Dub with 2 B's, the number 1. If you DM me on Discord, I can bring you up to talk to Jay in real time. So you don't have to be in the comments. Most of you won't, but that's an option. Linktree, check out the link tree in our bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch, Jay's on Cameo, and we upload all these episodes to Spotify. So if you guys missed one, you can check out the replays on YouTube, or if you prefer to listen or watch on Spotify, that's also available. So
May, go ahead and say what you want to say. I'll read your comment. I can't read every comment, pal, but go ahead and type it in the chat. I'll respond to it. Sorry, Jen. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's all of that. Trump's supposed to be on in 5 minutes. I don't know if he's usually on time, but it's supposed to be on in 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll watch for that.
Why do vampires avoid high-level corporate jobs?
I mean, I assume because it's during the day, but that's not very funny.
No, it's not. They're afraid of stakeholders.
Stupid. No. All right. While we wait for this, I just want to bring up Anna Kasparian again, because you want to talk about professional victimhood. There's this thing that happens with a lot of people. It doesn't happen with everybody, but there are people who attain like a certain level of fame and a certain level of status, and then they just like they're done growing, and then speaking for privilege, not recognizing like what their job is or what their job entails. They start complaining. And that is the Young Turks. This is why I don't like the Young Turks. Full disclosure, as a person, when I was Republican, I couldn't stand Cenk. I could not stand him. And I was like, he's such a prick. I hate his style. When I stopped being a Republican, I realized that Cenk's style was exactly the same as a lot of the Republicans that I did like. And now that I don't like those Republicans, I also don't like Cenk. And what I realized is that, like, I just don't like people who are going to come at me with emotions like 99% of the time. I'm not super interested in that. And I think Cenk is performative. And I think that Cenk, like, he wants power. Like, he keeps like trying to run for office and create these political groups. And they never really go anywhere. Because I think that even like Young Turk fans don't really buy that Cenk is authentic. And Anna Kasparian, she's had an interesting year or so getting criticized from the left. Now, the Young Turks did take a bunch of corporate money, and the corporate money that they took was from Poly Market, which is funded by right wingers, and it's an illegal gambling site. So you have people like Cenk and Anna who have claimed to be like, you know, for the working class. They've claimed to have progressive values. They've called out historically people who were bought and paid for, and then they take all this money. And then they're just like, why are you guys talking about this? Like, you don't trust that we wouldn't be corrupt? It was a fair question. It's still a fair question. I still haven't heard a great answer for why you needed to take that money. Then Anna Kasparian, out of nowhere, just like, I think she was just like reading an article. It wasn't even about her. But they mentioned like birthing persons or people with a uterus. And she just made a hot take. She went on Twitter and she's like, don't ever call me that. It's disrespectful. And she got pushback. And she got pushed back for a reason, because it's fair. The article wasn't about you, idiot. It wasn't about you. Nobody was calling you that in real life. It was an article that was meant to be inclusive. And rather than like list out everybody that it's inclusive, like if you have people that you know, it's trans people or people who identify differently, if you want to use terms that are inclusive, you may use terms that are inclusive, right? Whatever it might be. She got upset that they said people with a uterus or people or a birthing person. And I think there was a tweet that I saw at the time. I don't remember who tweeted it, but basically was like, these terms aren't for you. These terms are for people who have transitioned from man to woman. It wasn't about you. I don't know why you're upset. So she got criticism for that. And instead of just owning it and just saying, you know what? Yeah, I took something that wasn't directed at me and I took offense to it. I shouldn't have done that. It's over. Instead, she's doubled down on this forever. She turned herself into a victim. She took something that somebody wrote about somebody else, and she made herself a victim for it. And she got pushback, and that's fair. It's fair. By the way, actually, that reminds me, Tex corrected me yesterday. Yesterday, I said that Valentina Gomez was an elected official. She's not. That was the one burning the Quran. I thought she had been. I thought for some reason in my head she had won the primary in Texas, but they haven't even had it yet. So wanted to correct that real quick. But here she is. I don't know what this podcast, the Palestinian Hustle. Not sure what this is. And here she is, just still doubling down on being offended by something that wasn't directed at her.
She has called herself politically homeless, but we hope she feels at home at the Habibi house. Habibis, please welcome Anna Kasparian.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Huge.
Where do we begin? I mean, you've been on kind of like a world tour of sorts with all the biggest podcasts. I mean, just how do you feel? What's the general sentiment?
Well, I mean, in terms of going on various podcasts, I think that's normal. I mean,
Yeah.
that's been ramped up recently. I've been invited more often
Yeah.
than I had in the past, but that's
Why? Why did you get all these right-wing podcast invites? Because you chose to be a victim and they loved that? Could that possibly be it, Anna? That they loved that you were out there being a victim of something that had nothing to do with you?
fine. I just see that as part of the work I do.
Yes, Lena, we're going to stream the announcement.
But in terms of how I feel as a person, how I've grown into the industry I work in, I've never felt better because I think for the first time, I really genuinely am unapologetically myself. I don't really fit into any political group. I've felt that for a long time, but I'm actually living it now and being open and honest about it,
Right.
which is very risky in the profession I'm in, because in America right now, politics is very much seen as like almost like a blood sport. It's very tribal and you have to pick a side.
Yeah. Look, when she says I'm being honest, like, that's fine. But your honesty was that you made yourself a victim, like you centered yourself. And the criticism against you was that. Like, it's fine to be honest. It's fine to make mistakes. But she has become famous, and she's gotten more invites than ever before when she chose to be a victim. Let's see if this is up here. No go on the announcement. Yeah, I'll leave that running. Then she goes after Hassan. Now, Hassan is Cenk's, if you don't know, is Cenk's nephew. I didn't ever watch when Hassan was part of the Young Turks. But now she thinks this is, and this is where it gets like, are we going to crash here? This is where it gets like, where you realize that Anna Kasparian she'll just never be the same. Like, she got paid, she's elite now, and now she's going to complain about shit that, by the way, like, I don't think a political journalist should be bragging about this.
No, we're actually beefing. I think he treats his own uncle like shit, and it pisses me off. I love Cenk, and he's such a kind-hearted, good person who's given Haas opportunities, which led to his career being what it is today.
Right.
The way that he trashes his own uncle is like not being pure enough. Like, it was pretty infuriating to me. And I think he does do it because he is afraid of his audience. His audience consists of that faction of the left that I was talking about, where you.
The criticism here is that Hassan is willing to criticize his own family when he doesn't agree with what they're saying. And Anna Kasparian is saying, I don't think he should do that. I think because Cenk has been nice to him, he should be above criticism. This is a real look into Anna Kasparian right now. We've done good things, so we should not be criticized at all. No, take the criticism. I think I think there's a good argument for Hassan. I'm not like a big Hassan person. I don't watch a ton. I kind of missed that. But that's the criticism? It sounds like a compliment to me. Like, you're so principled that you're willing to call out your own family?
You have to be 100% pure. If you don't fully accept birthing person terminology, then you must be.
Mods, please tell Jay she was essayed by a homeless man that changed her. That doesn't justify anything that she's saying right now. It doesn't. I'm sorry. Like, your trauma doesn't justify you then inflicting pain on other people. It also doesn't. It doesn't change my criticism of this, that she's being critical of Hassan for not being nice to Cenk.
Be anti-trans. Like, that's the group we're talking. By the way, sometimes Haas slips.
Sure.
And
he's streaming all the
Right.
time. You're gonna slip.
Yeah, but what I mean by slips is he'll slip about like, oh, these leftist purity chirpers, right? And
So
it's
he'll
like,
say something that you agree with.
Yeah, that exists. That exists. There are leftist purity chirpers. There are people who it will never be enough. There are people that come in from the left every day. It will never be enough for them. That's your fucking job. You're online. People are going to say shit. You can react to it. There is such a thing as leftist purity chirpers, but like, the leftist purity chirpers are different than what we're talking about here, because she wasn't attacked by leftist purity chirpers. She was like universally attacked by everybody for just being like, you're a victim. Brooke, she wasn't a victim of this. Brooke, just because you're a victim of something doesn't mean that you're a victim of everything. She died. Like, I don't know that story. I don't know what happened. But if you're telling me that because she was essayed by a homeless man that then she gets to turn on trans people, and then she gets to criticize people for not being loyal enough and ignoring loyalty, or using loyalty to not be critical. Like, none of this makes sense.
100%. Yeah. So it's like, whatever. I don't know. I have less respect for people who are caught in this like doom loop of audience capture.
Right.
You like either you tell the truth or you don't. You either share what you actually think or you don't.
Yeah.
And the idea of throwing family under the bus to appease that mob, like, I don't know. I have this thing with loyalty, which is either healthy or unhealthy. I don't know. I don't care, but it is what it is.
I don't know. I don't care. I haven't done any of the work. I recognize that there's this thing I'm doing right now, and I don't know if it's healthy or unhealthy, but I don't care. I'm going to do it anyways. Like, this is just privilege. I'm sorry, Anna. I'm sorry that people were critical of you. That's your fucking job. You sit behind a microphone and you're critical all day. It's what I do. Can you imagine if I just sat up here all day and was like, you got right-wingers saying mean things to me? Yeah, I say mean things to right-wingers. That's what this job is. People criticize me and they look for every mistake I'll make. Yeah, that's what I do it to them too. It's how you hold people accountable. It's also like kind of fun sometimes. It's your fucking job though. Like, she just doesn't like it when it's turned on her.
And especially when it comes to family, especially when it comes to someone who has helped me in some way, either in building my career or helped me in some other way, I'm not going to turn my back on them the second it becomes uncomfortable to support them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you should. If somebody does something so egregious that it's uncomfortable to support them anymore, turn your back, turn on them. Just do it. That's the problem. If you don't, you're just telling everybody, you're just signaling to everybody that type of behavior is okay. It was a wild take there by Anna Kasparian. Sounds like Trump announces that Space Force Command will move to Alabama from Colorado. Is that? How do they have that announcement if he hasn't spoke yet? Postcaster, why the fuck not turn your back on horrible shit? Yeah. Like that's a bigger problem. Loyalty is something that like cult leaders and abusers use. They love that. It's every time I hear somebody talking about loyalty, my radar goes off. My favorite fighter used to be Conor McGregor, and Conor McGregor fought Khabib, and I was a big Conor McGregor fan then. And I've gone back and I've like rewatched some of their interactions, and I see the stuff that Conor McGregor says. And I'm like, oh shit. What Conor McGregor was upset about is that like he was caught doing shit. And he was mad that people weren't loyal to him. If you get caught doing shit, like I'm telling you, if I ever get caught doing something bad, I promise you Jen's not gonna have my back. Pink says, yo, mama is so Mormon she thinks coffee tables are against the word of wisdom. All right. It is. I don't know if it's common anymore, but there were a lot of Mormons who didn't call it a coffee table. I think I think it was with my aunt. I forget what they even called it. They came up with a different name for it. They called it like their drinks table or something like that. That is a real thing that does happen. Alabama's a red state. No further explanation needed. Yeah, I bet they're. I hope they're not polling any scientists from Alabama. I don't think they have any of those. I've always liked GSP. Yeah, my opinion have changed on a lot of these people. I'm not big on Khabib either. Okay. Let me go here. Well, do we have any update on when they expect? Let me look on Twitter. My next subject takes a while. Let me see if there's any update on when he's going to be live. Twitter's undefeated. Twitter says its stage is set here. I don't know. I don't see any announcement here.
We've got a new subscriber.
Still nothing. I don't know. We'll see. I guess when it goes live, it goes live. I can talk to you guys. having problems getting him propped up. What do you think happened this weekend? I saw all the like Trump is dead stuff. It pissed off a lot of people. What do you guys think happened this weekend? If you had to guess. First, I want like what's the most like realistically what happened? I think he had some sort of health problem, whether it's a health scare or a bruise, and he just didn't, because Trump not being in the spotlight is unusual. They're putting the human skin on. He's dead. He's dead. You guys, are some of you on the like he's dead train? Yeah, we do have new subscribers. Welcome. Stroke, but it could have been a small one. Isn't that a common occurrence with the condition that he has? I'd imagine that if you have restricted blood flow, like you could have mini strokes. His penis fell off. Jesus. How would you know? He hasn't seen that thing in a while. Never on time. Last announcement was an hour late. Okay. All right, Jen. Jen, do you have it up on your end so that when it breaks, we can jump in so I don't have to keep checking this? Did you see the videos, by the way?
Yeah.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, I have it up. But where I'm saying is it likely is that move, which I think is dumb. But I don't know if someone spoke. I don't know if he spoke recently, but someone says he doesn't sound good. Like maybe he has COVID.
No, that's not real. Imagine that.
That's not real?
Imagine he gets COVID the week after.
That would be.
After they get rid of the COVID vaccine. I didn't realize how. I know we covered that. I didn't realize that it was like. I saw a TikTok. I'm going to check with CVS, but apparently, if you go to schedule a COVID shot, you have to like. There's like some like you say you have to be qualified for the condition. Have you seen that?
I haven't. Is it the one that's like covered by the government? I mean, I'm sure you can still get it through your insurance or whatever. But...
I don't know. I'll have to look. Is anybody that's here? I wonder if I saved the video on Twitter. Let me see. I don't know if it was on Twitter where I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, I can look, but that would be my guess is that they're just not providing it, being paid for by the government. That would, to me, would make logical sense.
Well, I thought the government stopped funding that a while ago.
Possibly.
It depends on your state, some people are saying. Does anybody know the TikTok that I'm talking about, or the lady that was talking about how to schedule her? I think she was a doctor, and she was talking about like how to schedule her shot. I'm scrolling. I'll see if I can find it. I don't know if it's there or not. If anybody knows the name of who that is, let me know. Don't see it. All right, well, we'll just move on until Trump speaks because it could be a while. I don't want to sit here and speak into oblivion. All right. Patrick Bet-David went on Jubilee, and it did not disappoint. He went in as the capitalist. What is it? Capitalism versus, was it socialism or communism? Does anybody know if it was capitalism or communism? It doesn't matter. It's one of those two things. The problem that we have here is that, Patrick Bet-David is unaware of what capitalism is. He just thinks money is capitalism. Like, if you have a lot of money and you don't work for the government, it's capitalism. Now, there were some bad ones. I'm not going to show those because I think Jubilee does this. Like, they don't heavily vet who comes in. Sometimes you get some, like, real idiots that come in there. I will say that there's at least two people that I saw that also had no clue what they were talking about. And if you are across from Patrick Bet-David and Patrick Bet-David looks like the smart one, you probably shouldn't be there. But I wanted to show you a couple of instances where Patrick Bet-David got wiped. Let me also say this. I'm not a socialist. I'm not a communist. I think that any of these ideologies can be bastardized and they can be used to get you to justify immoral things or bad things. So I just want to put it on the record there that I am not either a capitalist nor a socialist, but Patrick Bet-David. Let me tell you one more thing about Patrick Bet-David before we get started. Patrick Bet-David tries to turn everything into an example. But Patrick David doesn't understand complex things because Patrick David is a lazy thinker. He's a scammer. He's not a brilliant businessman. He literally he made all of his money scamming people. It's what he did. He worked on Wall Street. And then he saw that there was like more money in scams, so he did that. But what Patrick Bet-David always tries to do, I've watched way too much Patrick Bet-David. Whatever you say to him, he's going to try and take the conversation out of the conversation you're having, and he's going to give you a scenario. And that scenario is to prove a point. And this works. Like, for people who like Patrick Bet-David, this works for them because it's simple for them. They don't want to get into the weeds of anything. They just want Patrick Bet-David to make an analogy, and they think it works. Because the analogy makes sense, but rarely is it proving the point that Patrick Bet-David thinks it is. And you're going to see that on full display over and over and over again. This is another reason, like, I hate these fucking conversations. Nobody has ever died because of communism. Nobody has ever died because of capitalism. They have died because the people who were in charge and had the power either set up a structure that killed them, and that could have been a communist structure or a capitalist structure, or evil people killed them. Right? We had capitalism in the United States. We had slavery. There have been places where they say that they are communist, which isn't possible. You can't have a communist country, but people who say that they practiced communism also enslaved people. Slavery is not part of the economic theory of either capitalism or communism. However, it gets used. And Patrick Bet-David should know that. He's supposed to be the expert. All of these people he's talking to, they're not supposed to be experts. They're just regular ass people. But Patrick Bet-David should know that. He also should recognize that, like, capitalism, if you're going to play this game, then you have to account all the deaths from the United States. You have to count those as capitalist. All the people that we killed in the Middle East, you have to count that for capitalism. All the people that have died here in America due to like lung disease from coal mining, like everybody who's ever died in America then would have to be a capitalist death. But they don't play that game. They just say communism bad, and like the only way to argue on his levels, you have to get really, really fucking dumb. I think one of the problems that people have debating him is, like, to get on his level, you really have to dumb it down. And that's probably what he should have done here, is just been like, look, like, if we're going to attribute all death to the economic theory that the leaders of that country espouse, then, like, we're going to be here all fucking day. And that's all we're ever going to talk about. And we'll never get anywhere. Because, like, under the economic theory of every country, no matter what they've said, like, most of them have committed atrocities. And if you ascribe that to the economic theory, it's just lazy. That's such a stupid way to judge it. Right? Like, where do most people go to vacation? Does that mean it's the best place to live? A lot of people vacation in Las Vegas. Why? They go there to gamble. Is that a good way to live your life? Is that a good way to go gamble every day? That's a terrible way to judge it. You should judge it by outcomes. This is the pea brain of Patrick Bet-David. Like, he just has never bothered to go into depth on anything. The way that you judge which one's best is how many people come to visit there. No, you don't. You judge it by outcomes. Because judging it by who comes here is going to do, well, one, like, where are they coming from? Two, why are they coming? 3, what were they told? 4, was what they were told the reality, or was it not the reality? The only way to actually look at this is from outcomes. You would never look at it by, like, how many people choose to come here. No, that's not how you judge it. That's just how you judge it if you're Patrick Bet-David and you don't want to talk about. Okay. What does that have to do with? What's he talking about? Like, this is where I think this guy's confused too. Like, how did we just get here? We're talking about child labor laws, and he's like, yeah, actually, sometimes regulation can go too far. Yeah, but all we said is that, like, capitalism needs regulation. That's what he said. He's just like, the government's job is to regulate it. PBD's like, it could go too far. Yeah, no shit. So what are you arguing right now? Because you said, yes, we need regulation. Yes, we need law and order. But it can go too far. Then you gave us this drone argument that didn't make any fucking sense to me, at least. Why should we have less regulation on developing drones? Do we have this massive need for drones right now or something? Am I missing out? Is it important that the airspace is less safe so that we have more drone technology? See, he can't engage. He literally, like, this guy started talking about a real life example where it was more profitable to put lead in gasoline, but it kills people and lowers the IQ of the people around him. He's like, somebody has convinced you that these are bad people. Bro, immediately just wants to be a victim. This is what I'm telling you. They're all fucking Karens. They're telling you capitalists are bad people. These people are bad people. If you don't give a fuck about the people around you and you make them sick so that you can make money, you're bad. Right? He's not saying all capitalists are bad because of this, but Patrick Bet-David just needed that opening to be a victim, because that's how they sell you Republicans. You guys are all bitch. Like, it's all bitch shit with you. You're saying that we're bad. Nobody said that, you idiot. Nobody fucking said that, Patrick Bet-David. He didn't listen. He just now wants to tell this kid, I'm rich and I'm older, and it's unfortunate that you have these views. Someone has indoctrinated you. Why don't you be good at your job then, PBD? Why don't you convince him that he's wrong? Why don't you give him some data? Why don't you give him a good argument that he's wrong? Well, I can't do that, so I'm just going to say this is indoctrination. What's he supposed to say here? Yes? Yeah, I'll do the job. Gets to Florida. PBD's just like, yeah, you lick my asshole 80 hours a week. Fuck! Then he quits, and then Patrick Bet-David goes on his show. I gave this young man a job. I offered him 80 hours a week. He was getting good pay. And this is what's wrong with this younger generation now. They're not willing to lick my asshole for 80 hours a week. They're not willing to do it. And by the way, we're going to explain what this job is in a minute, but Patrick Bet-David's like, this is the problem with you. I gave you no details on a job working 80 hours a week, and you said no. Or no, you said, I'll think about it. Let me research and figure out what it is. What if it was just kidnapping people's puppies? Would you do that job? What if it's a terrible job? Plus, you have to live in Florida. I'll have the interview. I want to look at your company.
No, you said it depends.
I said,
don't
yeah,
know.
sure.
Let me look.
Yeah,
Let me
sure.
do all
I
this
would
other
look
stuff.
into your company. That's all I said.
I appreciate you.
All
Thank you, James.
Still nothing from Trump. Let's talk about PBD's company. It's called People Helping People, which is just a big fucking lie, because it's not people helping people. I found this TikTok on it, actually, but you don't really need to worry too much about what these guys are saying. And this chart's a little small. I couldn't find the chart anywhere. It's from a CoffeeZilla episode. So CoffeeZilla actually interviewed Patrick Bet-David long before Patrick Bet-David was the famous person that he is now. And what this is, it's hard to see, is the breakdown of the total annual payments for the people that work for People Helping People, or PHP. Here's what People Helping People is. They sell insurance, life insurance, and annuities. But they do it in an MLM structure, meaning that the more people you have under you, the more you're going to make. And everybody that works for your company, by the way, they're all 1099 contractors. So there is no responsibility for Patrick Bet-David to pay any of them anything. There's no benefits. There's no worker protections. There's no hour limits, nothing. And they have to pay to do this. There is a monthly or annual fee that they have to pay just in order to sell this product. And then they are trained not to sell the product, but to get other people to sell the product so that they can make money on that. That's what People Helping People is. It is a pyramid scheme. Here, I'll have these guys. Is it muted? Where's the mute? There it is.
Yeah. It's a life insurance MLM. It was started in 2009. I think that's how he got all his money. I could be wrong. Maybe he came from a wealthy family.
I think it's probably that. And then he ripped people off.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true. I think he came from a poor family.
Yeah.
He's an immigrant. I think he's Iranian. And from what he says, he came from a poor family. I don't know if anybody's ever checked that.
So PHP stands for People Helping People, which is ironic to me.
Aw, that's sweet.
Well, when
he's in it for the right reasons.
Yeah, when we get to the financials, I think it doesn't look so sweet, but
not very helpful.
Yeah, looks like Patrick's helping himself.
Oh man.
So yeah, like all MLMs, you pay a fee to be. You start out as a trainee first, and it's completely commission based. And then you'll level up to an associate, but you have to recruit additional people under you. Half of their agents made less than $1,000.
All right, now it's a little more clear there. Somebody said PBD sold this in 2022. Yeah, he did. He took a bunch of money, he sold it, and he's a managing director, meaning his downline stayed. right? There's not. This isn't one of those things where you're paying yourself revenues. Like he kept his downlines. He's a managing partner. He still gets all his money. He just also cashed out. So it's not like he's not still involved with this. Did you guys just believe PBD when he tried to distance himself after CoffeeZilla exposed him, and now that he's in the political realm, he tries to distance himself here and say that he's no longer part of it, but he still makes all of his commissions? You guys, you bought that?
Well, actually, he sold it 2022, so he's being serious. He doesn't make any money from that.
He says in the Jubilee episode that this is what he does. He doesn't say I sold it, I no longer do this. He literally says I still do this. He's a managing partner. Go look at the company website. You'll see Patrick Bet-David is a managing partner. So look, see how easy it is for these conservatives? Because all they want to do is just buy this shit. They just want to believe that their people are telling the truth, and they never look into anything. But here's what it is. The percentage of people, agents that made over $500,000 is like 0.21%. This goes all the way down. So the majority of the people, 27% of the people who work in this agency make, on average, $2,368 per year. And 51% make less than $300 per year. Both of those percentages don't equal what they have to pay in. So these people, 78% of the people in that company that work for him lose money every year, pay him to be part of the organization. Good Lord, what a great organization. There's a lot of other insurance companies that exist that don't have this structure. Patrick Bet-David saw all these commissions that you can get from annuities and life insurance and thought, how could I get other people to sell this and I keep most of the money? And they said, you know that company that you work for right now? I think he was Amway. He was either Amway or some other one. And he's like, oh, I could turn insurance into an MLM? Great. This is why we need government regulation. This shouldn't fucking exist. And they sell these people. They lie to these people. What CoffeeZilla did in that expose is expose like how they recruit people and how they lie to people and how they float this idea of like, oh, this is how much you're going to make. This is on average what people make. And they skew all the stats. And CoffeeZilla broke that down. It's a fucking scam. Patrick Bet-David isn't even like a capitalist. He's just a scammer. Like I don't know if you could have picked like a worse person to represent capitalism. He's not. You guys don't want him as your representative. Still no Trump. How about that? Marianne said, send a super chat. Thank you. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded. Anything you can do to help us knock out that goal, which I'll update here in a minute, would be greatly appreciated. We also have paid memberships through TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. And I forgot to check with Admir tonight. I don't think we're going to do date night tonight, but I was going to see if he wanted to do it tomorrow night. So we may have an event tomorrow night. Even if he doesn't go, I just might do it myself. We'll see. Isn't insurance already an MLM? I think insurance is already, technically a little, I guess, kind of. It's already a scam. He's like, let's take this scam and make it even more scammy. At the same time, arguing that like regulation gets in the way, that regulation's the problem. We should regulate that out of business. His business should not exist. There's absolutely no benefit to his company existing. It makes a couple people rich. It hurts a lot of people. It's going to drive up the price of annuities and life insurance. It's a terrible thing. It just absolutely should not exist. What'd you send me, Jen? Angry staffer said, Trump is way late to his Oval Office address. 22 minutes of counting, waiting on the uppers to kick in. It's back to school week, Adderall shortage. Laura Loomer was flown into fluff, getting that last layer of mismatched makeup caked over his bruises. They're having issues applying makeup to the right hand. I don't know what they're doing. He better do something weird. Isn't it gonna be more weird if they just like pretend that he didn't go missing for 6 days? They've got to address that. Somebody's gonna ask that question. Nah, make me a mod. I'll mod this thing. Mike, you can't mod this thing. Mike, how do you feel? Mike, you're a libertarian. How do you feel about Patrick Bet-David? You a big Patrick Bet-David fan? Like these MLM scams? Let me go back to the outline here. All right. Who's this interaction with? I think I had one more clip. Yeah, here's one more clip. This one was good. Distribution channel. What does that mean? What would a distribution channel be in life insurance? Now, I sold life insurance, and we had sales reps. We paid those sales reps an hourly wage, and then they got commission. I guess that would be our distribution. You don't distribute it, right? You're selling a product. There's no distribution channel to get the product out there. Why do you think he says distribution channel? It's because he's a scammy fucking MLM salesman, and that sounds better than we have a bunch of people in our pyramid scheme. We've got a bunch of recruiters in the pyramid scheme. So instead of calling them pyramid scheme recruiters, he called it a distribution channel. There's no distribution channel. It's a bunch of people trying to get you and to sell insurance to your friends, and they get your friends to sell insurance to their friends. It's not a distribution channel. It's a pyramid scheme.
For you. Here's a question.
All right. Maybe he's saying like nobody pays him for recruiting. Like they don't, like if you recruit somebody, you don't get money. True. You get money if you recruit them and then they sell life insurance. That's true. There's no like recruitment fee, but like Patrick Bet-David, all of his money that he's making is a cut of what everybody else is selling. And it probably like we have laws on the books, so you can only go down like 5 lines. Like your first group of people underneath you, you're going to make a higher percentage on, and then each line that it goes down, you'll make less of a percentage. But like it spreads out, right? So like your 5th line is probably going to have way more people than your first line, so you'll make most of your money on that 5th line. So yeah, it's not a recruitment fee. But literally, do you think Patrick Bet-David is a multimillionaire because he's out there slinging life insurance? Bro, this guy does a podcast every day. You think he's a multimillionaire because he's out there? He's just such a good insurance salesman? No, dude. You make all of your money off of these people that you recruit. And by the way, you pay them nothing. If they don't ever, if they never make you a dime, they never make a dime. There's no hourly wage. There's no risk. That's the whole idea behind capitalism, right? You're going to take a risk. You're going to pay people. Like that's why we can't give you guys high taxes. That's why we can't tax capital gains, because you took a risk and we want to incentivize that. Bitch, what risk did you take? Where's the risk here? You bring somebody on, they don't sell anything. Great, you're out $0. They paid you the whole time they were there while you brought them on. They paid their own risk. They gave you money. Where's this risk, Mr. K? That's his proof. This is like this. If anybody ever says this to you, they're just trying to get you to join a cult or an MLM or a scam. He now wants you to make a judgment on his character. Do you think I would do that? Yeah, dude. Yeah, I do. Because you thought you could run over CoffeeZilla. Because I've watched him run over people that don't understand what they're doing. But CoffeeZilla is different. You don't run over him. He also has principles. He also doesn't say shit that he doesn't know. And CoffeeZilla.
It's on.
Okay. And he doesn't take guests.
Hey.
I hear you.
Jay.
I hear you.
I think that it's not really.
All right. Doesn't look like it's on. Am I not caught up? Where's it on? On a different live? Forbes doesn't have it yet?
I sent you the link. I'm on.
Okay. AP.
Huntsville, Alabama. We love Alabama. I only won it by about 47 points. I don't think that influenced my decision, though, right? That didn't, right? But we had a lot of competition for this, and Alabama's getting it. Huntsville in particular, so congratulations, everybody. Katie, congratulations. This will result in more than 30,000 Alabama jobs, and probably much more than that, and hundreds of millions of dollars of investment, and that's billions, because it can't be millions, it's billions and billions of dollars. Most importantly, this decision will help America defend and dominate the high frontier, as they call it. I want to thank Secretary Pete Hegseth. He's doing a fantastic job. And Secretary of the Air Force, Troy Mink. Troy, thank you very much. Great job you're doing, Troy. This is such a big deal. This is one that everybody wanted to know. What are you doing? I also want to thank Senators Katie Britt, and I want to give my condolences. Your grandmother, her grandmother just passed away. She was 100, right?
100, and she loved you, Mr. President.
Well, and she was very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Very, very proud of you. So thank you, Katie.
Wonderful woman.
She must have been. To produce you indirectly, I can tell you she had to be. Tommy Tuberville, who's a great coach, and I won't say anything about what happened with Alabama football this weekend.
Let's leave that out.
But you're not.
I'm supposed to apologize for yelling to Jen. Jen, I apologize for yelling at you. That was just a overreaction to overstimulus, and I was trying to stop something, and I'm not capable of running electronics. So my apologies to Jen for yelling.
You're not used to that, right? You're not used to that. But Tommy, Auburn won, is right. They did. So you're happy. Tommy's been a great senator, as you know, and a fantastic guy all around. He was also a tremendous coach. House Armed Services Committee Chair Mike Rogers. Thank you, Mike. Where's Mike? Mike, thank you very much. Doing great, Mike. Representatives Barry Moore, all great friends. Robert Adderholt, Gary Palmer, and Dale Strong. Thank you all very much, fellas. Appreciate it. In my first term, I created a thing called Space Force. So important. You know, we were losing the race in space very badly to China and to Russia. And now we're far and away #1 in space, and reestablished Space Com with a mission to protect American space assets and detect any threat to our homeland. We initially selected Huntsville for the Spacecom headquarters, yet those plans were wrongfully obstructed by the Biden administration. And as you know, they moved them to a different locale. And today we're moving forward with what we want to do and the place that we want to have this.
I hope he explains why. Seems like a massive waste of money to start a project in Colorado and then move it. I hope Trump definitely wouldn't be doing this just to be petty, for sure.
And this will be there for hopefully hundreds of years. That's where it's going to be. I will say I want to thank Colorado. The problem I have with Colorado, one of the big problems, they do mail-in voting. They went to all mail-in voting. So they have automatically crooked elections. And we can't have that. When a state is for mail-in voting, that means they want dishonest elections, because that's what that means.
What? All right, let's see it. Bro, what? Does this work for you, Republicans? Mail-in voting means dishonest elections, and you guys are all fucking idiots, so you're just going to repeat this. I don't even have to explain that at all. If I just say it, you'll believe it. What is this?
So that played a big factor also.
Also, he votes by mail. That's a good point, Daniel.
In Huntsville, Spacecom will play a key role in building the Golden Dome, as you know. That's going to be a big thing. Everybody wants to be a participant in it. Missile Defense Shield, we're going to be having a Golden Dome that the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. The finest, the best. And by the way, Canada called. They want to be a part of it, and that'll be great. But Canada wants very much to be included in that, and we're going to work something out with them, I hope. It will also ensure that our technological capabilities, of which we're way ahead of anybody else, there's nobody close, remain unmatched long into the future. So I'd like to ask Secretary Hegseth to say a few words. He was very much a part of it. And really, everybody behind me was. Every one of these people would call me and lobby me. I said, Katie, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I know what you want. She said, that's right, sir. That's what I want.
They're just never going to explain why they're moving it. They're moving the command center at the cost of millions, potentially billions of dollars. I don't know, because Colorado does mail-in voting, and this is supposed to be somebody that we take as like a legitimate human being and a legitimate president. Are you guys out of your goddamn minds? This could have been an email. That's a good point. Like, fucking tweet it. Come up with something better than that. Lie to us, please. God damn.
they do mail-in voting, so we're moving it to Huntsville, Alabama, where people don't do mail-in voting because only 30% of the population of Alabama can spell.
And they got their way. So I just want to congratulate. These are really special people. They're politicians in many ways, but they're great patriots, I think even more so than politicians. So they fought very hard to get it.
They're politicians in many ways, in that that's their job, that they're politicians.
And it's an honor to give it to Huntsville. Pete, say a few words, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I will say this, though, like if we do get in a war and people are going to attack our strategic locations, I guess it might as well be Huntsville. A better Huntsville than Colorado, I guess.
As usual, right place, right time, for the right reason. In your first administration, you established the Space Force at a time when we knew we had to be looking to that domain of space. You also reestablished SpaceCom to ensure that priority was put in place, and you, through the Air Force, independently identified that Huntsville, Alabama was the right place to put it.
No, it's independent. It's independent. He is all independent. He just told us these bitches won't stop calling him. And Pete Hegseth is such a ball licker that he's like, you did this independently. No, bitch, he just told us. He didn't even think about it. You guys have been begging him. He just told you that you were all beggars. And then you showed up and you're like, no, sir, it was actually all you. Okay.
Other reasons, in the next administration under Biden, they decided to move it somewhere else. Well, during that time, the DOD Inspector General, the Government Affairs Office, they did their own assessments. And where did they say SpaceCom should go? Huntsville, Alabama. So what you're doing today, Mr. President, is restoring it to precisely where it should be based on what the Space Force, the Air Force, your leadership believes will give us strategic advantage in the future. That is Huntsville, Alabama. We are way ahead in space, but this will ensure we stay leaps and bounds ahead because that's the most important domain. Whoever controls the skies will control the future of warfare. And Mr. President, today you're ensuring.
Maybe we stop going to fucking war. What if we just stopped doing war all the goddamn time? What if we did that?
I voted for this. I voted for this. Fuck my prices. Fuck my house. Fuck the economy. I don't care. I voted to move Space Force Command to Huntsville, Alabama. This is what I voted for.
What are we doing?
And that happens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Katie, would you like to say something?
Mr. President, we are grateful for your leadership on this and restoring Space Command to its rightful home in Huntsville, Alabama. This delegation has worked together, both chambers, both parties, to make sure that Huntsville was the place that Space Command called home. As was mentioned, obviously the Biden administration chose to make this political. What we want to do is put the safety and...
What's the evidence that this was political? What can somebody...
We did not choose to do this. We took a project that was already underway and we abandoned all of that at the cost of millions of dollars and made it political. And we're going to point at Joe Biden and be like, this was political.
God damn, you guys are not this dumb. CNN and MSNBC both went to commercial.
Security of Americans first. We want to make sure that our warfighter is put first. And we want to make sure that America continues to lead. And today, Mr. President, you've allowed that to happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tommy, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. This is a great day for our country, not just for our state of Alabama. We need help in our military. We need to catch up. And as Secretary has said,
you just said Trump just said you were light years ahead of everybody. Did you guys talk about this before you came out? Did any of you talk with each other? Trump's like, we're so far ahead, nobody's even close. Hegseth said, we're ahead, but we're going to stay on top. And then here comes the old ball coach. We're getting our ass kicked. We're so far behind. We desperately needed help. And everybody knows when you need help with science and space, where do you go? Huntsville, Alabama. That's where the best scientists in this country are located.
We're not behind in space, but we know where we're at, and we need to expound on that. Now, this move will save the taxpayers $480 million. It's not going to cost more.
By the way, just real quick, does anybody know what's in Colorado? Does anybody know why they might have had it near Colorado Springs? Is there another branch of government that has a significant headquarters in Colorado Springs? Maybe another one of the branches of government that isn't necessarily on the ground or in the sea, but maybe also up there in the sky? Have you heard of the Air Force Academy? Would it make sense to take your academy that you're mostly recruiting from, the Air Force Academy, and put Space Force near it? Or does it make sense to make them go to goddamn Huntsville, Alabama? This is about, the only thing I could think of is like, this is maybe tax breaks. Like I'm reading into the arguments here of like why they're saying that Alabama should be the center. The only thing I'm finding is that they have existing space and missile defense infrastructure and historic ties to rocket development. So, because we built rockets there once before. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck they're talking about. If anybody could figure this out for me, seems like they're just prepared. They're trying to move everything into red states. I don't know why you would do that.
It's going to cut $480 million. We have the plans intact. It'll be behind a secure wall in Huntsville, Alabama, at Redstone Arsenal. We have 40,000 people there. We have the FBI there. We have missile defense there. We have NASA, Blue Origin, and SpaceX. It is the perfect place for Space Command. I would tell you today, and I've spoke with the president for the last 3 or 4 years about this. If I thought it needed to go somewhere else because I understand the security of our country, I'd be for that. But the best place for Space Command is Huntsville, Alabama, because what we have and what it means to this country is going to be so important. So thank you, Mr. President, for this, and we look forward to.
I want to just show you something. I was looking for notes, and apparently we've covered this before because it's highlighted. This is an article from September 2nd. How's it highlighted? Is this an old article that they updated? That's crazy. Oh, this is probably, never mind. I didn't read this. Never mind. I think Google just did this for me. During the final week of his first term in office, Trump decided to award the permanent Space Command headquarters in Huntsville, reportedly over the recommendation of the Air Force generals to keep it in Colorado Springs. After leaving office, Trump told an Alabama radio show that he has single-handedly decided to move the command to the state. For many Colorado officials, it was proof that he made the decision for political reasons, not national security ones. Alabama voted twice for Trump. Colorado supported his Democratic opponents. Once Biden was in office, Colorado lawmakers urged him. Okay, so wait. So the story they're telling you isn't even true. Like, it was there, and then Trump said, I want to move it, and Biden's like, I'm going to listen to the Air Force generals. And you guys this is political? Listening to Air Force generals is now also political. After more than 2 years of review in July 2023, Biden reversed Trump's decision to move the command to Alabama out of concern it could put military readiness at risk, among other factors. So they went through this. They did 2 years of extensive review. And then Trump's just like, yeah, but I want it here.
Building a huge Space Command and having the Donald J. Trump Space Command Center in Huntsville, Alabama.
JD, would you like to say something?
Sure. Well,
yeah, good.
Mr. President, thank you. I'll be very brief here. I lobbied the president hard to put it in Ohio, but he said these people behind us, these Alabamas, are just too powerful and too persuasive. And so it's in Alabama, but as Tommy said, this is exactly the right place for Space Force and Space Command. I think Americans ought to appreciate the fact that you can't win the battle of the future unless you control the skies.
Yeah, but like nobody up here from the Air Force, all the Air Force generals said leave it in Colorado, but stay-at-home mom, mediocre football coach, scam businessman, and whoever the fuck else these other are, business failure, and Peter Thiel cuck, they all said the opposite. So why should we listen to the leaders and the experts when we could listen to this lucky band of dipshits?
Cyber security, the communications, the entire infrastructure of the battle in the 21st century will be in space. So it was a visionary move in the first administration for the president to set up Space Force, and I think an equally visionary move to make sure that Space Force is right where it should be in Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, anybody want to say anything? Would you like to say?
Mr. President, another promise made, another promise kept. You think about it, Redstone Arsenal is critical to national security. The president said when you were the 45th president, let's do what's right for national security. And today, that's exactly what we're doing.
And all of his security advisors said, that's wrong for national security. Please don't do that.
It's not because of this or that. It's because it's right for national security. You think of the 21 categories.
Yeah, they all disagree once again. They all disagree. They're literally saying Trump is doing this unilaterally. Trump is saying I'm doing this unilaterally. Everybody involved says bad idea. Trump's making this decision on his own. And then we bring up 8 fluffers to suck him off and tell him it wasn't really his idea. It was just the right thing to do.
That were evaluated to determine what was best for national security. All indicators pointed back to Huntsville, Alabama.
Except for the indicators by military experts who said specifically, don't do this. It hurts our military readiness. But besides those, the indicators that all just point to like Donald Trump's dick, those are the only ones you guys look at. Like, how can I make Donald Trump happier? I only look at those indicators. Huntsville, Alabama.
Redstone Arsenal. We have the right people at the right place at the right time. Mr. President, on behalf of the people of the 5th Congressional District and all of Alabama, thank you for keeping your word. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Anybody?
Let me just say, Mr. President, I want to say thank you.
This tan
thank
suit
you for doing this
motherfucker.
because it was the right thing to do. All the when they looked at all the numbers, Huntsville was the place to go, and like you said,
once again, apparently not. That seems made up. Wait, are they going to tell you what the fuck they're talking about? What numbers were they looking at? Where they looked at all the numbers and all the things, it turned out Trump was right. What numbers did you look at? What numbers would you look at? What numbers are we looking at here?
it was unfortunately pulled out, but you made it right. So I want to just say thank you again for a grateful nation, and to the state of Alabama, we're very grateful. Thank you, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Throughout history, militaries has always understood that whoever could hold the high ground held the advantage. Space is the ultimate high ground. And what we're doing,
yeah, but Colorado's higher than Alabama. So now what the fuck are we going to do? Literally, Colorado Springs is like a mile high. It's literally above, like, it's higher. What are you talking about? Well, now we're going to talk about height. All right. Well, Colorado's higher in a lot of ways.
moving the Space Command to Huntsville is absolutely critical to our maintaining dominance in that sphere. And it goes hand in hand with what we're trying to do with the Golden Dome and missile defense to defend against anyone else who tries to enter that sphere. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. And obviously, national defense is a huge issue. And when you look at the scores, Alabama was #1. And for political reasons, it was moved out of our state. But
Alabama, what scores? Alabama ranked #1. What are we talking about here? Is there rankings? I'm on September. All right, that's not it. Air Force evaluation identified Redstone Arsenal as the preferred location and top-ranked site for the permanent U.S. Space Command headquarters in 2021. Then after that review, Alabama outranked Colorado in 11 out of 21 comparison categories. But then they did the second study in 2023 that determined that it was not the best spot. So they're just, again, this is just conservatism. They're just going back to like the thing that agreed with them. I wonder, I'll see if I can get more details on that. This is just an AI overview. It doesn't have a link for it.
Mr. President, thank you for making priorities the defense and the warfighter and the safety of this nation. And in the big, beautiful bill, that Golden Dome will be built in Huntsville, Alabama, and we're grateful for that. Thank you.
Listen, as chairman of the Armed Services Committee, I care very much about what's most important for our national security. And the president held a nationwide competition to determine where we should have this command. If y'all remember, at the end of that competition, where Alabama came in first, there was a lot of complaints from the other states who did not place well. He said, we'll do it over with new criteria to accommodate your concerns. Alabama came in first in that second competition. His Secretary of the Air...
Is he talking about the GAO? We had a competition? What? All right, so now I'm seeing there was I think they're citing this GAO report. I'll keep going.
Air Force reviewed the results, said it was fair, and the president named Huntsville. It was the Biden administration that decided to make it political, even though his own Secretary of the Air Force said it was a fair competition and it should be in Huntsville. So I want you to know I appreciate this president standing up and being strong and saying he's going to make this right and put it where it rightfully belongs, and that's Huntsville, Alabama.
Thank you very much. Good job. So thank you all very much. You are going to leave me alone now. You're not going to call me anymore and talk about this subject, right? You promise? They'll start something else. But I just want to congratulate you. It's a very big deal. When you come out and when you leave the room, you'll see that we just...
All right, so here's just so you know, this is what the categories were. So according to the rankings, Alabama was in the top third of categories of available and qualified workforce. So people that need jobs, nearness to mutually supporting space organizations. I don't know why that's important, but somebody could explain it to me. Room for the headquarters, room for a parking lot, security, available childcare, ability to absorb headquarters workers and their families in the local transportation system, one-time infrastructure costs, overall construction costs, and cost of quarters for 600 military personnel traveling with the command. All right. Well, look, if this was, I'll have to see how much of it was built or how much had been invested in Colorado. If it is cheaper and we haven't invested in Colorado, like I don't really care about the move. These guys are doing a terrible job explaining it, so we're going to have to dig deeper. But I guess economically it could be the right decision. We'll have to see.
Over the last few minutes, literally shot out a boat, a drug-carrying boat, a lot of drugs in that boat. And you'll be seeing that and you'll be reading about that. It just happened moments ago, and our great general, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who's been so incredible, including what took place in Iran, knocking out potential nuclear power for a long time to come. I think within a month they would have had it if we didn't do what we did. But he gave us a little bit of a briefing. And you'll see, and there's more where that came from. We have a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And we just, these came out of Venezuela and coming out very heavily from Venezuela. A lot of things are coming out of Venezuela.
5% of drug trafficking exists takes place in Venezuela. A total of 5%. And Venezuela's actually done, the product isn't even coming from Venezuela now. It's just the traffickers are coming out of Venezuela. And again, 5% of them. It also comes mostly through the Pacific Ocean. And for some reason we went on the Atlantic side. I don't, there's no way I trust this story. I'm not saying it's wrong. There's no way I trust this story though. We are in Venezuela for a reason. It has nothing to do with drug trafficking. It has everything to do with oil.
So we took it out, and you'll get to see that after this meeting is over. Do you have any questions, please? Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Cumberland talked about the cost savings associated with this announcement. Can you talk about the strategic benefits by having Space Force Command headquartered in Huntsville?
Well, it just works because we have so much else there. And having a central, you could call it a central command, but it really is a command station. Also, even locationally, where it is, and when you think about flying distances, if you can save a half an hour as fast as some of these planes go and things go, and even the rockets go, if you can save by having the best location. So we went out, as you know, to experts, and we had 4 different groups of experts. They all said this was the best location. I also loved it from the standpoint, I know the people of Alabama, they are great people, work hard, and there's no games, and they're very proud of it. And I would say they fought harder for it than anybody else also. A lot of states, 5 states really wanted it, but they wanted it more. And I kid you not when I say that these people, they spoke to me a lot. That's all they wanted to talk about. They didn't want to talk about the weather. They only.
By the way, somebody asked for the sources on that. So the sources on Venezuela. So Venezuelan government has come out and claimed that 5% of the trafficking comes through Venezuela. It's difficult to because we're just getting that data from Venezuela, and they are a country who is understaffed. But you can look. There was a CNN analysis in 2025 that said it's less than 10%. If you look at the Washington Office of Latin America, they reported that it's a fraction of a percent. So somewhere between 0 and 10% is where you're getting this trade. It's mostly, by the way, not the drugs that they talk about the most. It's not the F drug or the H drug. It's the one it's the C drug. that gives you a moment, 15 minutes of energy. And most of those drug routes are out on the western side. So that's in the Pacific Ocean. Our fleet is in the Atlantic Ocean right now. So we're looking at somewhere between 0 and 10% of total drug trade. And it's not the drugs that we are most worried about. And we're in the wrong ocean. We're just in the wrong ocean for no reason. They didn't know that. We've been trying to get Venezuela. We've been trying to force Venezuela to give their oil reserves to American oil companies for like 2 decades now. But you're going to believe that this has something to do with drugs? Okay.
To talk about moving to this location, moving to Alabama, Huntsville in particular. So we're honored to do it. They really wanted it badly, and they got it. Peter?
President Trump, something completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you...
Brother, let me say this, too. Trump's moving so fast, he has people like RTP and other commies chasing their tail. Bitch, I'm 5 steps ahead of Trump. I've predicted almost everything he's done in this presidency. Just because you're too fucking stupid to know what he's doing doesn't mean the rest of us don't see right through it. This guy's a dipshit. We've been ahead of him the entire time. We've been telling you guys about Project 2025 for 2.5 years. And it's happening now, and then it comes out and you're like, ha, you guys didn't even know. We're like, bitch, we've been saying it. You guys, I'm sorry that you're too dumb to know this. This is not 5D chess. This is him playing chess and you not knowing the rules of chess and us knowing what he's doing. And when he gets checkmated, he's like, guess what? I won. And you're like, see, he beat you guys. And we're like, yeah, but he didn't. He got checkmated. And he's like, yeah, but he changed the rules. Nobody is surprised by any of this. We're all way ahead of Trump. I don't know that I've had a single prediction from this administration be wrong. I don't make a lot, but like, if you think that this guy's ahead, you're out of your fucking mind. This is a story from 2021. Trump said he was going to do this in 2021. It's 2025. We've known about this for 4 years. He's not ahead of us. He's late. It took him 4 years to do it.
Find out over the weekend that you were dead. You see that?
No.
People didn't see you for a couple days. 1.3 million users.
Bullshit! He put out a tweet. He put out a tweet saying like, I'm actually good. I've never felt healthier. Jen, can you find his tweet? What do you mean, no, you didn't hear about this? Jen, will you see if you can find his True Social where he talked about this?
Engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he was.
That's not funny. That never happened. Biden wasn't gone for months. This literally never happened. They just laugh. This is some cult shit. When somebody tells a lie and you all laugh and stare at each other like, are you laugh? Watch how they laugh. Just like the crazy people even laugh.
In the greatest of shape.
They all have to look at each other to make sure you're laughing, right? We're all laughing at this.
No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors. I did numerous shows and also did a number of truths, long truths, I think pretty poignant truths. No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own pretty nearby on the Potomac River.
I hope somebody asks why everybody in his administration was tweeting out lies, though. I hope somebody asked, like, how come people in your administration kept showing pictures of you with John Gruden, but that was from like 2 weeks ago? Why were they showing pictures of you or videos of you with your granddaughter from a video that was like in July? Is anybody going to ask why they were all like running cover for him, though? Like, why were people lying about where you were? That was weird.
And no, I've been very active actually over the weekend. I didn't hear that one. That's pretty serious stuff. Well, it's fake news. You know, it's just it's so fake. That's why the media has so little credibility. I knew they were saying, like, is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong? I said, I just left. And it's also sort of a longer weekend, you know, it's Labor Day weekend. So I would say a lot of people know I was very active this Labor Day. I had heard that, but I didn't hear it to that extent. Go ahead, Peter.
Something else. We know that this country has a huge problem with school shootings. You've said that you're open to sending the National Guard pretty much anywhere. Would you ever consider sending an armed National Guard?
First of all, Greater J, you dipshit. I didn't ever say he was dead. I never engaged in that. Also, what news organization said he was dead? This is how stupid you guys are once again. Donald Trump tells you that the fake news media ran stories that he was dead, and you're like, yeah, fuck them. Nobody ran that story. This is all made up too. Just like what you did when you said I fell for it. I didn't say that. I read to you what I said to Jen earlier about this press conference. I never once said that he was dead, and either did any news organization. This is, again, here's the Karen alert. You guys are just trying to figure out ways to be victims all the time. It's all you want to do is figure out some way that you're a victim so that you can celebrate this fucking dipshit. Nobody, no legitimate news organization said he was dead. Nobody. And he just goes on there and he's like, this is why nobody trusts the fake news media. Oh, they all reported accurately. They all reported the news. Not one of them said he was dead. And it works on you. Oh, yeah, they did say that? Oh, I don't watch anything but my carefully cultivated algorithm. So I'm just going to believe that news organizations said that. Nobody said it. This is why we say you guys live in a fucking cult. You do not live in reality. And whatever he says, you just accept is true. You really need to hate them because they lied. No, they didn't. Nobody did that. Chasing, I'm not chasing my tail, Bill. Bill, you're too fucking stupid for this conversation.
Every school.
Well, we have a big problem with school shooting, but we also have thousands and thousands of schools that run perfectly. You know, they talk about you can do things construction-wise, and that's really, I think nobody knows more about construction than me. You can build the construction doors. You can build what they call safety doors, where they lock on the outside, the inside, and every place else. Well, but if one of these lunatics happens to get through, then the police can't get in. Then they're looking for keys all over the place, and it takes a lot of disadvantage.
Oh, good, thanks. What are we going to do to stop school shootings? Well, I know a lot about construction. There's security doors, and it keeps people out, but then it keeps the police out. So are you going to do anything, or no? It's just unsolvable. This is an unsolvable problem. I don't know what we're going to do. I guess kids are just going to keep dying.
Advantages to doing, spending billions and billions of dollars and actually making it safer in some way for some of these lunatics that we're dealing with. But I don't think so. I've thrown out the concept. We have great teachers that love our children. The parents love the children. Teachers love the children too. And if you took a small percentage of those teachers that were in the military, that were distinguished in the military, that were in the National Guard, et cetera, and you let them carry, that's something that a lot of people like. I sort of liked it. I'd have to be studied, but they're trained.
So you're going to do nothing. You're just going to float ideas. By the way, you want to take somebody that was trained in the military, highly trained, and then try and convince those people, hey, you want to go work in an underfunded school for $30,000 a year? Maybe pay, if you're going to do that, you're going to have to start paying some teachers. Thank God they added all that money to the education budget. Oh, wait, they cut education budgets too. Oh, okay. So we don't have any money for that. You guys are already $5 trillion in the hole. We're already spending ourselves into oblivion. They don't, this is what we say, like, you guys don't fucking care about kids. Give me something. You're going to do nothing? You're just going to tell us about some shit that you heard? Well, I've heard people say this. Well, but we're not planning on doing anything. Stop telling us you care about children. Do something, even if it's something I don't like. I mean, it'd be one thing. Even if you had armed guards at every school right now, or if you were advocating for that, I know you'd get pushback, but like at least you'd be doing something. You're doing less than thoughts and prayers. You're not even doing thoughts or prayers. You're just like, I've heard some people say that something could happen.
They know about weapons. You can't do it with every teacher because most teachers don't know, and But I always thought that would be an alternative. But it just we've had a lot of instances. Other countries have also. They have different kinds of problems than we have.
Yeah, and by different kinds of problems, they mean they have almost no school shootings ever. Yeah, he's trying to do this whataboutism shit. Give me the whataboutism. Let's look at school shootings by country. Let's see if I can pull this up here. All right. Yeah, it's pretty close in other countries. Let's see. First is United States with 288 in a 10-year period. And next was Mexico with 8. A mere 280 away. Yeah, they all have similar problems. Look at all these countries with what? China, 1. Brazil, 2. Pakistan, 4. Yeah, it's close, though. Yeah, basically everybody's dealing with the same thing that we are here in America. I mean, all of ours are like, what is this combined? Of this list, 14, 18, 22, 25, 27, 29, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Take all of them combined, and we still have 248 more than them. That's your president. This should give you an idea. When Donald Trump deflects and blames other people, you should start questioning, does he really know what he's talking about? Is there data to back this up? Or are you guys all professional Karen victims that you just want to figure out a way to take no accountability for anything ever, and anytime you're criticized, you become a victim immediately, or try and focus on somebody else?
But we do have, there's something going on, and it's a bad thing. Yes, please.
Yeah, people with mental health problems have easy access to guns. It's not that fucking hard. That's the problem. People who want to do violent things to children can get guns too easily. That's the problem. You don't need a lot of research. That's just what's going on. Now, what are you going to do about it? Well, I do know a lot about construction. Oh, thanks, dude.
Spoken with President Putin in the past week. Have you spoken with President Putin in the
Yeah,
past
I
week?
don't want to. I have learned things that will be very interesting. I think in the next few days you'll find out.
Consequences if there isn't some type of announcement of a meeting with President Putin and President Zelensky? And what could those consequences be?
We're going to see what happens. We're going to see what they do and what happens. I'm watching it very closely. Last week they lost 7,000 between the two countries, 7,313 soldiers to be somewhat exact, for no reason whatsoever.
What the fuck? Angie says, Cap says you're a biter, but my hat. I was like, what? But are you a licker? Goddamn. I'm not a biter. We can leave it at that. Judah said, so much to say, so little time. Thanks for everything. Thank you, Judith. Fine.
The Russian and the Ukrainian.
Oh, sorry. I missed a couple of these. So do you see the swelling over his right eye?
Soldiers. I want to see it end. Yeah.
Mr. President, have you decided you're definitely going to send National Guard troops to Chicago?
I don't see the swelling there over his right eye. I'm not seeing what you're seeing. He'll replace Benedict Arnold as the biggest traitor. Don't worry, Trump will use his Sharpie to make sure no hurricanes hit it. And Ivory said MLMs equal cults with a starter kit, merch, and manipulation. Is there a poll? And I did that one.
Chicago?
I didn't say when, but the answer is, look, Chicago's very interesting because I watched Pritzker get up and say we don't need help, we're safe. But 2 weeks ago, they had 6 people murdered, and they had 24 people hit by bullets. Last week, as you know, it was 7 people, 24 people hit, and 7 people died. And then over the last 2 days, that was the crown jewel. They had, I guess, 9 or 10 killed, and 50 hit with bullets. And
death in a blue city, you'll send in the National Guard. Death in a school, thoughts and prayers. You know what I mean? Like, send it. You want to do something that's popular? Like, maybe use the National Guard for schools and surround the schools. I don't know. Where are these fucking priorities, though? I mean, like, you'll protect. By the way, you're saying that these are like crime ridden, and it's like it's criminal on criminal crime. Like, you're so concerned about that, but the children, no problem. Just let them go.
you have this.
We'll make new ones.
Governor, get up, who's a terrible governor, probably he and Gavin Newsom would be probably the two worst and most naive. They're naive. Either they're naive or they're very untruthful. And he'll say, we don't want any protection. We don't need. So in the last 3 weeks, he's lost almost 20 people killed. There's no place in the world, including you can go to Afghanistan, you can go to places that you would think of. They don't even come close to this. Chicago is a hellhole right now. Baltimore.
Excuse me, what? No city in the world is as violent as Chicago. It's not the most violent city in our country. What are we talking about? What is this? Tijuana, Mexico. According to Armor Max, I don't know where they're getting these numbers from. 138 homicides per 100,000 people. Acapulco, Mexico, 111. How old are these? Are we still doing Acapulco? When's this from? That's from February. Acapulco, number 2 with 111. Caracas, Venezuela, number 3. Ciudad Victoria, Mexico. Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. Irapuato, Mexico. Ciudad Guiana, Venezuela. Natal, Brazil. Fortaleza, Brazil. Ciudad Bolivar in Venezuela. What the fuck is that word? Peter Maritzburg in South Africa. Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. Pretoria, South Africa. San Pedro Sula in Honduras. Durban, South Africa. Johannesburg, South Africa. Salvador, Brazil. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Cape Town, South Africa. San Juan, Puerto Rico. It's not even in the top 20. It's not even the most in our country. Guys, he's an idiot. Why? Why do we have to do this with you every fucking time this dipshit speaks? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have to point out that he lies about everything? You all know Chicago is not the most violent city in the world or in this country. Why doesn't it bug you that he just says this shit? No pushback. Fucking cuck, fucking cuck, fucking cuck. All around him. And all of you cucking for him in the chat. Hey, we love being lied to. Why? Why do we still have to do this with you dipshits? Do you have like any amount of confidence at all? Any self-respect? Is there a single part of you that you're like, I love being lied to? There's none of that. This isn't embarrassing to you. On a world stage, every leader in the country's laughing at us. Russia, China, India, they got together and they laughed. They're like, we cannot believe that this fucking guy is doing all of our work for us. We're just sitting here and he's fucking up his own country so bad that we don't have to do anything. How much longer do we have to convince you that this dumb motherfucker doesn't know what he's doing? At some point, you have to start hearing the words that he says and decide true or false. But you hear the words he says, and when they're false, you're like, it's probably 5D chess. How much longer do we have to do this with you fuckers? How much longer are you just going to be willfully the dumbest fucking people on earth? How much longer? How much more can you put up with?
Baltimore is a hellhole right now. Parts of Los Angeles are terrible. If we didn't put out the fires, and I mean the other fires, the bullet fires, they didn't do a good job with, they should have had the water coming down, like I said. You know, we had to release the water. We had to go in and release.
Oh, shit. Now he's back to releasing the water? Maybe this is why he took a break for 6 days, to get fact-checked into fucking oblivion, because I remember on Friday or Thursday playing a clip of him saying that that it was California that released the water, and they had to shut it off. So now on Thursday, California was releasing the water, and he saved the day by shutting it off. And now he's back to I released the water, which he thinks goes to LA, which goes out to the ocean. He can't even get any of these stories straight. This is legitimately a totally different story from Thursday, and you guys are still mad at the wrong people. He's a fucking idiot, and nobody around him ever corrects him. They stand there proudly while he lies or gets things wrong. No correction. And you guys hear it and you're just like, I'm going to ignore that and pretend that somehow libs are the problem here. This guy doesn't say anything that's true fucking ever.
Release the water to LA. It's so badly run. But if I didn't send the National Guard into Los Angeles, I would be making an announcement today. I'd be talking about Huntsville. And I'd simultaneously be saying, by the way, the Olympics is not coming to Los Angeles. If we didn't do that, And even the sheriff, the top law enforcement person in Los Angeles said, we could not have handled it without them.
Is he talking about the guy that's running for governor against Gavin Newsom? That's who he's talking about? Couldn't have handled what? The violence started when the National Guard showed up. That's when you had all the problems. You announced the National Guard was coming, and then the violence started. You created that mess, and it was not going to burn down the city.
Oh, that's what he said.
You made your mind up on Chicago, though?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks, and 75 are shot with bullets. So let me tell you a little story about a place called D.C., District of Columbia, right here where we are.
Oh.
It's now a safe zone. We have no crime. It's in such great shape. You can go and actually walk with your children, your wife, your husband. You can walk right down the middle of the street. You're not going to be shot, Peter. You're safe. Everyone likes you anyway. They probably wouldn't do it. But it's so dangerous. And
this was like, this is just such revisionist history. People were walking up and down the streets without being shot every single day. Every day. Most of the people in Washington, D.C. weren't being shot. It is crazy it is crazy that you guys allow this. It honestly is. Like, this is North Korea shit, but it's embarrassing. Like, at least Vladimir Putin, they do this in Russia, but like they have like some skill to it. It's not this stupid. It's not this transparent. It is remarkable how many of you just abandoned reality to support this fucking guy. You have thrown away all reason to support him. You really think, like, just explain to me. I've asked you guys a million times, how do we take record low crime in DC and Trump comes in with the National Guard for a few weeks and they don't even set records. Like, we've had more peaceful times this year in DC. Everything basically stays the same. And now he's celebrating this like he win. And you guys are you're ready to throw away the Constitution. You're ready to eliminate all protections for your states to let this guy bring armies into cities because they're blue cities. You are not the defenders of democracy. You're ending it. Is there any realization here of any of you? We're laughing about ending democracy right now.
There are people in this audience that you've suffered greatly. There are people in this audience that have been mugged and hurt badly, and they don't want to talk
Happy birthday, Laura. And thanks, Curious Red Monster.
About it.
Not even a nibble, said Bruno.
Maybe you were very brave in talking about it. You made quite an impression on a lot of people. I appreciate it. But there were other people in this room that have been hurt very badly just walking down the street in D.C. Washington, D.C. is a safe zone right now. It's a safe city. The restaurants are open.
Why won't Republicans impeach Trump? Because they insist on carrying babies to full term. Thank you, Michelle, also for the super chat. This thing he's just not happening. We'll let him ramble, but none of this is reality. This is all revisionist history.
They're booming. You can't get a restaurant. New restaurants are announcing that they're going to be open. This took place in 12 days. Now it's 15 days, but 3 days ago it became what's known as a safe zone. It's a safe city. And this city was really bad. Really, really.
It's known as a safe zone. It's known as a safe city. What? Just making up terms now? You're going to hear this. Republicans are going to be all over Fox News labeling it a safe zone now. That's how they're going to blanket over this authoritarian control. Because authoritarianism relies on you guys being terrified little bitches. And so they're going to label all these things that the government does, this authoritarianism, they're going to label it as protecting you. So they're going to call this shit safe zones. They're going to call it freedom, like liberation armies or whatever they might do. They're just going to label this shit so that you guys buy it because you're fucking idiots. And then we're just going to have authoritarian control. We're going to have an oligarchy and it's going to be over. And you guys, I don't know how long it's going to take for you guys to realize it, but at some point you may realize that you were along for the ride. All because you have been sold that, like, we're evil. By the way, if I was in charge and every single person in Congress had my ideology. For all of you that hate me, if I got to make every fucking decision in this country the way that Trump can, like, and control Congress, control the courts, you know what that would mean for you? Paid leave when you have a kid. Free education. Public. Subsidized or discounted education in college and trade school. You would have health insurance, and it would cover all of your needs without a deductible and without a copay. And your taxes would be, some of you, if you make a lot of money, would be slightly higher. Most of you, your taxes would stay about the same. And we would spend no money. We would stop giving money to Israel. We would only give money to people where we were defending them as part of an allyship. We would not have the fleets in Venezuela. We would have a strong border with sensible border policies. Does that sound, honestly, that's so bad? You guys are willing to you're willing to take an authoritarian because somewhere along the line you have been convinced that what Democrats stand for is not what they stand for. And this is the reality that we live in now. For decades, Republicans have been saying or Democrats have been hitting Republicans over the head saying, you guys want authoritarianism. If you vote for Republicans, you'll get an authoritarian. And you had George Bush, and you didn't really have it. And you had, you had Romney, Rand didn't really have it. Trump, even first term, you didn't even really have it. And so for a long time, you guys have been able to say, like, the left is lying about who we are. But you guys have been saying that we're communist, right? So your worst case scenario is that we are communist. Neither side has done either of those things until now. And now we're at a place where everything we said about Republicans has come true. And you all said that you wouldn't support that that wasn't who you were, and that these attacks were unfair. And now that they're true, what are you doing? Why are you going along with it? Now that we're doing authoritarian control, why are you going along with it? Why did you fight against us so hard if this is what you wanted the whole time? Why did you lie? Why didn't you just tell us you were authoritarian? Or are you just perpetual victims who don't admit when you're wrong? And so you're going to look at this and you are going to find every possible excuse to not admit what is right in front of your fucking face. This is the richest people in our country running our government, destroying the middle class, and sucking up all the wealth for themselves. And they're doing it because this guy's a fucking idiot, and all you have to do is give him a little bit of money and a little bit of praise, and he'll do whatever you want. I hope to God some of you wake up like at some point. There is no path forward with what he's saying. There is no path forward with Donald Trump that makes your life better. Be sure of it. Just walk through it. His economic policy is tariffs. How long will it take to bring back manufacturing jobs? And once those manufacturing jobs come back, who is going to receive the overwhelming majority of the benefits from those manufacturing jobs? It is going to be rich investors who get subsidies to bring back these manufacturing jobs, and it might create some okay jobs for American citizens. At most, it's going to make up like 10% of our economy. So is that worth it for you to have these rising costs all the way through? Is it worth it that we're losing all of our allies and our trade partners? Is all of that worth it? Or are you guys just all in on Donald Trump? Have you completely adopted his struggle as your struggle? Have you completely adopted everything about this man, and have you made it your entire political ideology? Because I think that you have. I don't hear arguments from you guys very much that makes me think any differently. Zero of you advocated for this. Zero. When we told you that he would do this because it was in Project 2025, when we brought up that they would use the military in blue cities in Project 2025, you called us all conspiracy theorists. You said that would never happen, that we were just fear-mongering as a way to try and make Trump look bad. Now he's doing it, and none of you are going to be like, oh, fuck, maybe they were right. Maybe, just maybe, we were right this time. And because you've been led to believe that we're evil, you're not going to admit it. Even to yourselves, to your own detriment. You will just go down in flames rather than admit you were wrong. That's embarrassing.
bad. We took 1,600 people out, hardcore criminals that will not be coming back anytime soon. And we're very proud of it. You know, to have our nation's capital lose every week. You know, it was like years, many years, where every single week somebody was killed for many consecutive weeks. This went on for years. And then we had, last week it was announced that nobody was killed last week. And I made that announcement in front of a very distinguished leader of a country. And I'm saying proudly, ladies and gentlemen, nobody was killed in Washington, D.C. this week. He looked at me like, what's that all about? I say, yeah, we have a little bit of a crime problem, and we don't have a crime problem in Washington anymore. And the mayor has been very...
Yeah, we do. We still have the same problem.
Helpful, and the police commission has been very helpful, and it's been a great team. And I would love to have Governor Pritzker call me. I'd gain respect for him and say, we do have a problem, and we'd love you to send in the troops, because you know what? The people, they have to be protected. I saw today on one of your networks, not a friendly network.
Has he got a phone call from the governors of red states? Why, how do you take this seriously, Republicans? Honestly, you all know that Chicago is not the most violent city. You know, D.C. is not the most violent city. You know, Los Angeles is not the most violent city. Can we just be honest for a second? If this is about violence, why are we targeting blue cities? Be honest, please. I need an explanation. Somewhere a Republican needs to explain why you're targeting blue cities that are not the most violent cities. Somebody. And by the way, yeah, let's not acknowledge that it's guns. We need to send troops to New York when Domini's going to win. Yeah, you're a fucking... You don't need to be afraid of Mom Donnie. Jesus Christ. Yeah, from your profile picture, you look about 20 years old. You don't need to be afraid about Mom Donnie. He's going to have government-run grocery stores. It was not going to hurt you. Nothing. Is there anybody here? Where did the Republicans go? I know you guys are here. I'm looking through Twitch, YouTube, TikTok. Not one of you has a reason for why we're sending it only to blue cities. Because you do know. Because that's where he wants to start.
Because he said so, and he's the one that's in charge. He gets to make all the most decisions.
It's not legal to just send in troops other than D.C., which is true. That's true. They're the most populated. They get the most headlines. Anybody? Because Republicans believe they are carrying. Yeah. I'm looking for Republicans. You guys don't have a single answer for this? Not one? Not one of you has a reasonable explanation for why he's... Yeah, so I guess we're left to believe that he's just doing it because they're blue cities, which is the same reason that you guys support it. Right? You guys like that he is taking control. You like when Democrats don't have control, which means that you like authoritarianism. Which means that you don't like that J.B. Pritzker is the governor. He was voted in. The people of Illinois chose J.B. Pritzker. You don't like that. So you're cool with the government forcing him out of power. What's up, Jen?
Hey, I just want to do a check-in for the announcements for the ways up. Did you read the Venmos from Shell and Bradley and Izzy? You muted.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Eric said 3 people shot in D.C. on Labor Day. Crime-free? I didn't know that. Laura said, you asked if I read which ones? Michelle's and Brad's?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read those.
Okay. All right. I don't know if we're a ways off from the gift goals. So if you guys would help us out knocking out the remaining balance, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, this is our job. We do this each day, Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 1. So to keep the lights on and be able to keep doing this, we need to have donations to help us. So there you go.
There you go. Great job, Jen. I don't know. I'm just looking. I don't even know if this is worth still talking about. This doesn't seem like they're announcing anything big. I know we're behind. I guess we'll see.
Really the opposite, I would say. Very unfriendly network. And they interviewed about...
Pull up top 10 crime cities, all run by Democrats. Yeah, Jeff, we've done this a million times. Every big city is run by Democrats. Every big city. That's how it works. And if you're looking at total crime and you're only looking at big cities, it's going to be overrepresentative of Democrats. But what you then have to figure out, and this is why I say you guys, your lack of curiosity is astounding. How could your answer be Democrats? You can't just look at something and say Democrats. You have to figure out why. Like, I look at red states and you guys are the least educated, right? Does that mean that just like it's just Republicans? No. It's the policies. It's the policies that you guys set. It's the funding. So I can break that down. I would just need you to show me what policies in blue cities are leading to more crime. Can you draw a correlation there? Most of these places, like gun laws, are set on a state level. So it's going to be hard to argue gun laws. Funding is done on a state level. Like how much a city gets is based on funding. People in close proximity with a high wealth disparity, like crime goes up. So yeah, cities, big cities where you have massive wealth disparity and you have people who can use public transit, who can get around by walking. Yeah, like you're gonna have more of that. That's just reality. But you've got to connect. You've got to connect that. You have to connect it to the policy. What I also see in Chicago and Washington, D.C. is I see crime rates precipitously dropping for the last 20 years. So they must be doing something right. They must be doing something, all being run by Democrats. I know what they're doing. They're involving communities. It's community outreach. They're getting skin in the game. They go to these communities and they get the members of those communities to help. They try and provide resources. We've seen those crime rates steadily going down. Where is crime rising the fastest in the United States? Let's see. Where is crime rising the fastest in the United States? I have no idea. Let's see if you still see blue states here or blue cities here. Crime's not uniformly rising in the entire U.S., but specific crimes are increasing faster in certain areas. Motor vehicle theft is going up. White nationalist crime rate is going up. Nationwide decline in violent crimes, down 3% everywhere. The Northeast is the only region that saw an increase in property crime between 2020 and 2023, while the West saw an increase in violent crime during the same period. I'm in a red state. We saw an uptick in violent crime in Arizona. It's a red state. Yeah, it's just hard. It's just hard to make that. I understand what you're saying, like, but that's thought stopping. If you want to convince me that blue cities are more violent because of Democrats, you have to go further than blue. You have to explain to me the policies that lead to that. Because I look at every metropolitan area has problems with crime. And every metropolitan area tends to vote Democrats because of diversity. If your entire party is diversity is bad and you try and run in a diverse city, you're probably not going to do very well. Laura said a gift for you on my birthday. Oh, I read that one. Like Jen said, we're way away on the gift goal. I appreciate. I know times are tough. People are tightening it up. But if you can help us, due to our lack of funding from Chorus, we do have to stay completely funded by you guys.
12 people on this morning. Most of them were African American, who were black, and they were saying, "Please, please, please let the president send in." These were people from Chicago. Please, we need help. We need help. We can't walk outside. We're petrified. If the governor of Illinois would call me up, I would love to do it. Now, we're going to do it anyway. We have the right to do it because I have an obligation to protect this country.
All right, now we're getting serious. All right. Does he have a right to do it? No. If he declares an emergency, does he have a right? Yes. How are you going to declare Chicago a national emergency when their crime rates are at historic lows? This is, again, where I think you guys are just like anxious to get rid of Democrats. You're just anxious for authoritarian control. You think this is going to win for you. I'd like to point out, your states fucking suck. Your states can't exist without Democrats. And your states suck because your economic policies suck. They overwhelmingly benefit the rich. and you don't tax people enough to pay your bills. And so blue states have to subsidize you. Your education sucks. This is ironically the worst run states are all saying we should be the ones that are in charge, and you guys are going along with it, not because you have done research, but because you think that you're smart, or that you're smart, and that you're smarter than Democrats. And so because you're smarter, you don't mind an authoritarian president coming in and forcing control into your hands. Be honest. But looking at historic low in crime rates and saying, by the way, the reason crime rates went down, like, we got away from this authoritarianism. We said we need to localize and we need to involve communities when it comes to lowering crime rates. And we've done that. And we've done it for 30 straight years now with very few upticks. Yeah, 30 years now. And it's been working. And now we want to abandon that so that Donald Trump can be an authoritarian? You guys want to undo all that progress, or at the very least just say, like, fuck it, we don't care about progress anymore. We need a king. You are Karens. You are bitches. You are terrified. You wake up every day scared about shit that isn't fucking real. It's never been safer to live in America than it is right fucking now. And you guys wake up hysterical little bitches every day to the point that you're willing to hand over control to an obviously impaired dumb guy, an 80-year-old cognitively impaired scam artist dumb guy, because you wake up every day and turn on the news and get scared and wet your pants. This is the pussification that you guys talk about. Like, America's too soft. Bitch, you guys are too soft. Toughen the fuck up. You talk about this all. You know what we really need to do in America is spank kids more. Well, we might need to spank you, because you guys have turned into hysterical little bitches. Everything is the fucking end of the world to Republicans. And they just use that against you so they can get control. And you're like, yeah, I'm so scared. I need this guy to come in and take control because I'm a scarce.
And that includes Baltimore. I saw where Governor Moore was asking me to take a walk down the street of Baltimore. Well, Baltimore is a very unsafe place. It's rated number 4 in the city, one of the most unsafe places anywhere in the world. But, you know, we took care. This was a beautiful thing that happened in Washington because we showed that it could be done. And this was
red state's still worse, even with blue cities removed. Thank you, Danielle.
Just sending big, strong guys, and they are big and they are strong. You know, we had a great decision from the Supreme Court that had to do with sort of talent. It had to do with you are put down based on merit. You can hire based on merit. So merit for a soldier or for a policeman is strong, physically fit, having a certain ability, not a person that is woke and got the job through woke.
Listen, I got to tell you, I'm not tough. I'm not tough. That's how big of an absolute bitch you have to be for me to call you a bitch. That's honestly, like, I recognize, like, I'm not a tough guy. I'm not trying to fight people in the streets. But what I don't do is wake up every day and cry about immigrants and trans people and get upset about rainbow flags, because I'm not a bitch. You guys are, like, legitimately the weakest, most bitch-ass generation in American history. There's never been a more, a bigger group of bitches than MAGA. You guys complain about everything. You wake up and cry about everything. You allow yourself to be lied to about everything. And then you still think you're the victims. You have the dumbest states. You have the dumbest people. It's the least educated political party in history. You elect dumb shits you elect people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then you're like, AOC is the dumb one. Bitch, AOC can spell. AOC graduated college. She can do math. You guys, you have people that can't speak in Congress, and you point at, like, actual intelligent people like, AOC's dumb. The fuck are you talking about? You don't know what intelligence is. You think that the mark of intelligence in this country is, do you agree with Donald Trump? That's it. You are lazy. You are dumb. You are cowards. You are bitches. You're easily manipulated. And I'm saying this with love in my heart because some of you are my family. Toughen the fuck up. Read a goddamn book. Do some fucking math. This is all lies. Be better. If you don't like being called a bitch, stop being a bitch. But, like, we're kind of done with this. Like, the Karens are running the country and I'm tired of it. Put your carts away. Stop complaining about it.
but was it?
Why are maggots so cheap? What the fuck? Yeah. And what are you getting for it? Nothing. Nothing. Trump, you celebrate like Trump made $5 billion and you're like, we're winning. You're not winning. You're losing. He's taken everything you have and you're like, yeah, he did it. He's so incredible.
Strong enough to lift a gun out of the holster, et cetera, et cetera. No, I looked at the police. As you know, last week I went over, we had a meeting with, there had to be 300 people, and they were all very impressive looking. And when the bad guys...
The racists are here. Hire the black population, hire the crime. Simple. Hire the poverty, hire the crime. Not that simple. See, this is again like the brain dead takes of Republicans. Why is crime higher in black neighborhoods sometimes? Are those neighborhoods well off? Are there in affluent black neighborhoods, is crime high? Oh, no. Oh, it's not? It's in poor neighborhoods. In poor white neighborhoods, is crime high? Oh, it is? Oh, so maybe the whole time it's about like wealth disparity and has nothing to do with the color of their skin, but maybe historically in this country, like people of color are more poor because we have systems of oppression to keep them down. Yeah. Why are white communities also violent? Goddamn, Michael, you're so unremarkable. Do you know, like, you have to be a lazy, whiny little bitch to conclude that the reason that in cities with poor black communities, the reason that they're violent is because black. Like, you have to go out of your way to be that stupid. Crime rises with poverty. It does all around the world, regardless of your skin color. No matter where you live in the world, the poorest cities have the most crime. Yeah, but it's probably black people, says Michael, you're entirely unremarkable on your own. But to actually give me money to have to explain this to you, like, this is free. You could get this education for free. You don't have to pay me for this, but I appreciate you doing it. Annette said, keep up the great work.
See them, they're not going to do a thing. And so I'm very proud of Washington. It serves as a template, and we're going to do it elsewhere. But Chicago is certainly going to be high. I would love to have him call. I would love the governor of Illinois. I'd be honored to take his call. All he has to do is say, sir, we need help. It's out of control. And everyone knows it is. He's not kidding anyone. I would love to have, I would say, Governor Moore call, because I watched him over the weekend trying to explain that Baltimore, what they need is housing. No, they don't need housing. They need to get rid of the criminals. He's a hardcore.
Okay, where are you going to put him? Why do they become criminals? This is what it is. Like, he's just a rich guy and he's dumb, so he doesn't have real solutions. So a solution to any problem that he doesn't like is get rid of them, because he's rich and he's always been able to do that. Anything he doesn't like, he can just pay to get rid of. This is why you don't put in spoon-fed Nepo babies as the president, somebody with literally no like legitimate life experience. Everything he hasn't liked in his entire life, he pays to go away. His wives, his children, his mistresses, his lawsuits, his crimes, everything this guy has ever had that came up and got in his way, he just pays to make it go away because daddy made a bunch of money and this little whiny bitch Nepo baby had the money to do it. And so that's how he runs the country too. There's no interest in any of these folks in fixing the problem. They just want to scare you so that you'll let them have power. Rory said, I was driving home in Chicago. I was offed 5 times. Damn, dude, that's a tough commute for you there. That's 5 times in Chicago. That's crazy. And you came back. That makes you the savior, which is great. It's good to have you here. Where was this? Somebody sent something. Stephanie said, I know it's not much, but this exchange rate from Canada is a killer. Thanks, Jay and team. Thank you, Steph. I appreciate it.
Criminals.
A hungry mob is an angry mob. Facts. Like, did anybody watch Robin Hood? Anybody watch that? Have any of you ever watched any movie ever? You ever watch or go to see the musical Les Mis? Ironically, Trump says he loves the musical Les Mis, and like he's the bad guy. Newsies he likes. He doesn't recognize he's the bad guy in all of these movies. He's the rich guy saying that these poor people who are doing crime to survive are the real problem and we should just get rid of him. He's the sheriff of Nottingham. He's in what is it? What's the guy in Les Mis? Inspector. I can't remember. Is it like Charvon or something? I can't remember. He's William Randolph Hearst. He's the robber baron. Have you guys ever seen a movie? In any movie, is the good guy the guy that has his face on banners over government buildings, who's using the military to go in and arrest people in the city? Is that ever the right guy? Or is that, excuse me, ever the good guy? Javert, thank you. Javert. Is he not Inspector Javert or whoever his leaders are? History has been trying to tell you this story forever, that the rich guy who uses the government against you is the bad guy. And you guys are just like, no, this time, the rich guy who's using the military against us is the good guy.
We took
Shrek, good point. Shrek, there's another one. Fucking watch a movie. Turn off Fox News. Read a book. Read history, please, for the love of God. The rich guy using the military against their own people, putting up giant photos of themselves all over the city, is never, ever the fucking good guy. They make those videos to make it easy for simple people who don't research to catch this. You're not catching it. Have you seen The Handmaid's Tale? Have you seen Hunger Games? Have you seen Harry Potter? Is there a single movie where this is the good guy? Is there a single example in history where this is the good guy? No, never, ever. But this time it is.
Many people off the streets of Washington, D.C., they're hardcore. They're not
Sorry,
going to
Miss
be...
Shane. Shane said, Jay, they want law and order against those who want them to not be racist, homophobic, or transphobic. They want the freedom to be vile in public towards anyone they want, while the people they accost have no recourse against them.
Good. In 10 years...
Yeah, there we go. Star Wars, The Purge. How many more movies do we have to reference? Is he not Darth Vader?
In 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born...
Excuse me? We talking eugenics now? Hold up, are we doing eugenics now? Born to be a criminal? What's he talking about? Uh-oh. Let it slip a little bit. A very underreported story is that this stupid bitch believes in eugenics. That he believes that he's so smart because of his genes. He also doesn't believe black people have good genes. And there's a bunch of dipshits that come into this live every day who believe the same thing. Uh-oh. Born to be a criminal? This won't even matter. Any other president in the history of our country said this. It ends them. Not Donald Trump. Why? Because if you're not a white nationalist, you're a white nationalist apologetic. If you're siding with him. Defend that. And you will. You'll defend it. It's 5D chess. He misspoke. The fake news media.
To be criminals, and they're tough and mean, and they'll cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next day. They won't even remember that they did it. And we're not going to have those people. Washington, D.C. is now a safe zone. It's a safe place, and you can walk, Katie, you can walk right down the street with, by the way, one of the biggest human beings.
Yeah, Ben, there's a history of people saying that your very existence, being born, is a crime. In fact, Trevor Noah's book, which is one of the best books I've ever read, is called Born a Crime. And that was basically like his story, is that like legitimately him being born mixed race was a crime, and he suffered persecution in South Africa his whole life because his existence was a crime. What kind of rhetoric is that from the president of the United States, that these criminals were born criminals? They're just evil, so we got to get rid of them? Bro, how the fuck's this different than Germany? They're just out and out saying it now. If you guys don't stand up to this, there's no line. Can't stand up for this. He's now telling you why he's going to D.C., and he's telling you why he's focusing on Baltimore. He's telling you why he's going to certain neighborhoods in Chicago. He believes that black people are less than, that they were born this way, and that they must be corralled like animals.
I've ever seen, which is her husband.
Keeping a list of things to watch: Idiocracy, Handmaid's Tale, V for Vendetta, Mountainhead. These guys are very weak losers, quite frankly. They are busy spending their money on the latest T-family crypto scam. That's a good point.
He was a football player for like 11 years in the NFL. He's a big person. But big doesn't mean anything when they have guns and when they have knives and everything else that they have, right? but you can walk right down the street, even by yourself, and you're totally safe. Washington, D.C. is a great thing. Yes, ma'am, please.
Mr. President, as you're calling on Democratic leaders across the country to work with you on crime, do you see your efforts here in D.C., including, for example, working with Mayor Bowser here as a model for bringing more bipartisanship in matters not only with crime, but also issues that matter to everyday American people's lives?
So Mayor Bowser's been great. She could have taken the thing, oh, well, and then after I clean it up, they'll take credit for it. You know what they do is they take credit. Like, we cleaned up Los Angeles. We did a great job there. And it was overwhelming what was going on. And again, the police chief made a statement that we could not have done, there's no way they could handle it. You saw what was happening out there. It was going to be a disaster. We stopped it cold. If we didn't do that, would have been a very sad day. And you know, remember, we have the Olympics.
None of this happened. Literally none of this happened. None of it. I don't know what he's talking about. Mayor Bowser didn't have a choice. Mayor Bowser didn't have a choice but to go along with this. And so she made the best of it, which is the right thing to do. But she also didn't call for them. There's just nothing she can do. These governors, there's something they can do. There is a constitution. There was no constitution for her. But like all this shit he's talking about in I was there. This wasn't happening in California. There was like if you look at the map, there was like this small part of California where there were like semi-violent protests. That was it. Have you been to Los Angeles? You know how big that place is? It was not under duress. People were out walking, going to dinner. Most people didn't even know the protests were going on. If you weren't within a mile of those protests, you had no idea they were going on.
The World Cup, we have all these things coming, and we have 250, all of these things coming. But I watched Newsom get up and say he's doing a great. He's not. We're the ones that did it, and that's okay, whatever it takes. But the main thing is But he got up and said we did it. Well, he didn't want us there, and he's going to need us again because it's starting to form again. I see it.
Well, I've got a problem here because Trump sent in the National Guard. The courts ruled that they couldn't do any police work. Trump's administration said our National Guard's not doing any police work. We're just standing around guarding ICE. So Trump's own National Guard said we didn't do any police work. So how did they stop violence if they weren't allowed to stop violence? And if they're claiming they didn't stop violence, they were just there to escort ICE, basically. So what happened here? How did they simultaneously solve this crime that nobody could find and also say that they did no police work? How'd they do both? They didn't. He's a liar. If you believe him, you're dumb. He never tells the truth. None of this is real. I was thinking the other day, admittedly when I was high, and I was thinking about like some, I was just thinking about somebody that I peripherally know that like they had like a change in the way that they were thinking, and they started to view the world in a different way. They're like viewing the world as if like this was scripted. I've seen people in here say it too, like that it's a simulation. And admittedly, again, I was high, but I started thinking about it and I was like, if this was a simulation, isn't this like exactly what it would look like? Because the stuff that's happening is so fucking bizarre and so out of the norm that it's almost like this is how they would test to see like is simulation going to work? Will they ever figure out? Legitimately, like if you're straight out of central casting, you're going to take a 70-plus-year-old scam billionaire who's lived his entire life in controversy, who was not well-liked anywhere. Never a well-liked person. Even when he was famous, was not well-liked. He was the butt of every joke. He was a villain on TV. You take a villain on TV, who, by the way, also sexually assaults a bunch of people in the process, settles a bunch of lawsuits, is completely broke, and wears makeup, like ridiculous makeup, by the way, that we all just pretend is not happening, right? We just all pretend that this guy doesn't paint himself orange every day with the most ridiculous comb over, a weird fucking tie that hangs down over his dick, wears a girdle, wears lifts. This guy, like, you couldn't, like, it's Dr. Evil weird. Like this is a character that you create so that the person watching the hour-and-a-half movie is like, oh, I can easily identify this person as crazy because they are in such a fucking costume. and then surround them with just like a bunch of closed-eyed idiots who like will just immediately change their opinion when he tells them. Like it is some Dr. Evil shit. They're like, January 6th was an insurrection. No, it wasn't. It was not. It was a totally peaceful protest. Oh. Yeah, Russia absolutely interfered with our elections. And then Trump's like, no, they didn't. No, they did not. They definitely didn't do that. It's crazy in real time to watch this cartoonish man get other grown-ups to just change their opinion immediately because of what he said. And they just go along with it. If this was a movie, like, you would almost be like, nah, that's too far-fetched. And when I started thinking like, all right, I kind of get how people are buying simulation theory right now. Because there's no excuse to support this. He's obviously fucking insane. He obviously doesn't know what he's doing. He's now just openly saying like that black people are born criminals. Just nothing. Just nothing from the American people. We're gonna go along with this.
Starting to form again. You know, we have to maintain. It's like maintenance on an airplane. You can buy it, but you have to maintain it. And if you don't maintain it, a good plane becomes very unsafe very quickly. So it's
that said, Trump equals Napoleon from Animal Farm.
Honor to do it. It's a lot of presidents wouldn't do what I'm doing. I don't need this heat, but when I watched television last night and I'm watching the news and I see that 9 people were killed in Chicago and 54 were badly wounded with bullets, I say, that's not this country. We have to do something. And I do say this. I say this very much. I'm not.
Just want to point out once again, we're not doing a goddamn thing about school shootings. Why? Because you won't win any political points from your side with that. Because if you would try and address school shootings at all, your gun lobby and these people who literally place like the ownership of a gun over their God, over their children, over their schools, like literally gun ownership is the #1 thing for Republicans. We're not going to do a fucking thing about school shootings, but we're going to talk all about Chicago.
Speaking to anybody but them right now. I would love to receive calls from governors and mayors saying they need help. We'll help them. We have a lot of people. We have a great force. We have a great military force. You know, Pete will tell you that when I was running for office, and this was a big headline, I think, you know, probably got me a couple of votes, but you couldn't sign people in the military. Nobody wanted to join the military, the Army, Air Force, the Navy, Marines, Space Force, Coast Guard. We never forget Coast Guard because they've done such a great job. Never. But nobody wanted to join any of them.
First of all, we always forget the Coast. Everybody forgets the Coast Guard. Let's be honest. We shouldn't, but we all do, including you.
We were way below what we wanted. Every single one. The closest was the Marines, whatever that is. You'll explain that to me. But the closest was the Marines. But every service was way down, way down. And then I got elected, and our country's the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. Everybody's talking about the USA. They're talking
Not the way you think, pal. Not in the fucking way you think. Nobody wants to come here. Like, you can't get people to call you back for trade deals. Bitch, you've been here for 7 months. You got like 9 trade deals. You know, we had so, like, every trade deal. We had a trade deal with basically every country. Now we've got 9 because you're such a dumb fuck. And they so desperately don't want to work with us that they won't sign trade deals unless they absolutely have to. No, they're all laughing at you, you silly little bitch. And by the way, if your military recruitment goes up because you're talking about using them on inner cities, maybe that says something about the people you're recruiting. If your military recruitment goes up when you say no more trans people, no more LGBTQ people, no more black people in leadership, we're going to re-elevate the Confederates to prominent positions in our military history, we're going to demonize women, and we're going to have a stated goal to kill all Muslims, maybe that's why it's up. Because the military recruitment, including during Trump's first term, was down. It was on like a 40-year slide. Why? Because we keep going to other countries for no fucking reason and murdering people, and nobody wants to be associated with that anymore. And so this administration's like, how do we get people in the military? I've got an idea. What if we campaigned specifically for people who hate women? and who hate poor people, and who hate minorities, and who hate Muslims. What if we just directed all of our messaging at them? Do you think we could get more of them? Sure enough, now we got a bunch of angry fucking white incels in our military. That'll go well. That's going to go really fucking well. And then you know what happens? Because eventually everybody's going to get tired of this fascism shit. And whoever the next president is, assuming that these guys allow democracy to continue, whoever the next president is going to have a real fucking problem on their hands. Because you're going to have a bunch of angry incel white nationalists in places of power, and you're going to try and restore equality, and they're going to get really upset about that, and they're going to get violent. The repercussions of the Trump presidency will not end when he leaves. We will be dealing with this for decades. Not only the massive amount of debt that he put us in, but the absolute erosion of the middle class, the erosion and the destruction for American farmers. He has destroyed sectors of our country that will take decades to come back. Some may never return. And you guys all still support it because we just like that he's a mean guy.
About the job that we're doing. Everybody, we have the best economy. We have a very, very important decision being made by the Supreme Court because our country is the richest, the strongest, the most powerful. But if for some reason some liberal court, I'm talking about the court that just ruled, where even...
I agree. We don't need mentally ill psychopaths in the military. Let's stop recruiting white nationalists. Let's stop doing that, please. I agree with you. Thank you for pointing that out. We don't need mentally ill psychopaths in the military. So if somebody is outwardly racist or xenophobic or homophobic, yeah, don't let them in the military. They've got real fucking problems. For some reason, somebody else's identity makes them angry. That's a mental disease. You should not be, those people should not have access to a weapon. If somebody's appearance makes you angry, you're a bitch. Well, I don't want you in the military.
An Obama judge voted in favor of us, which I gave him a compliment yesterday, as you know. I said that took great courage. But it's a liberal court. And it's going up to the Supreme Court, who I think have been incredible people. I think they've made very wise decisions. But the tariff question, because without the tariffs, this country is in serious, serious trouble.
Shout out to the veterans protesting in DC. Yeah, Jolly, Matt. I think Defense Trans. I don't know their name. Yeah, shout out to them. Danielle said Chicago isn't even in the top 20. Benny said Biff from Back to the Future 2 and President Koopa from the 80s Mario movie are both literally Trump. Danielle said us being in a simulation makes the most sense.
We've taken in almost $17 trillion of
Laney, thank you. And I'm not sure who Rig is, but Laney, thank you for that.
Investment is coming in. Most of it is coming because of tariffs. And if for some reason somebody wanted to be politically correct. I actually think it's unpolitically correct. I think politically correct is to approve it because there's nothing so popular as what's happened to our country. Our country is doing so well. But we had a liberal court gave us a very shocking ruling, and that ruling is based...
Everything's gotten worse. Literally everything's gotten worse unless your entire life just revolves around if Trump's president. But like there's not a part of your life that got better. We're doing so well. Proud Atheist said, according to the comments, Republicans think facts are insults. Makes sense as to why they're so repelled by them. Yeah.
Basically saying that the trillions of dollars that are pouring into our country, putting us in a position like no country is anywhere in the world, that they'd like to see us that taken away. By the way, a lot of the people behind that lawsuit, that particular, are from foreign countries. I might add.
Wait, hold on. The people behind the lawsuit saying that Trump can't use the National Guard against its own citizens are people from other countries? Okay.
There's a video that is circulating online now of the White House where...
All right, Richard, we'll give you a chance. Richard Feldman, I see you. Things have gotten so much better. I just want you to name things that have gotten better, and I'm going to give you the border because I don't agree that the border necessarily is better, but for what you guys wanted, we just disagree on what better is there, so I'll give you that. There's less people crossing the border. Now I need to know the other things that you can back up with data that have gotten better.
A window is open to the residence upstairs, and somebody is throwing a big bag out the window. Have you seen this?
No, that's probably AI. Actually, you can't open the windows. You know why? They're all heavily armored and bulletproof.
So that's a fake video?
Well, it's got to be because I know every window up there The last place I'd be doing it is that, because there's cameras all over the place, right? Including yours. No, but every window, I've never seen a window that's, in fact, my wife was complaining about it the other day. She said, love to have a little fresh air come in, but you can't. They're bulletproof. And number one, they're sealed. And number two, each window weighs about 600 pounds. You have to be pretty strong to open them up. No, that has to be, where was the window? Let me see.
Maybe for the renovations?
Which is the window?
It looks like this is on the 15th Street side, I think. Yeah. So right here.
Yeah, those windows are sealed. Those windows are they're all sealed. You can't open them.
What you were saying regarding the federal.
It's the kind of thing they do. And one of the problems.
Wait, why? Wait. Why would anybody do that? There's no way that's correct. I'll get to that in a sec. If you guys haven't seen it, let me see if I can find the video. Let's see. I don't know where this video is taken from. Let's see.
You got another one? Let me see. Yeah, let's say in that little outhouse on the end. Oh, somebody there, right? Right now, right? Oh, there you go. You got it? You zoomed in?
I don't know what you would be trying to prove there to make it AI generated. Listen, you guys know me. I can barely work a computer. I would have no idea how to tell if it's AI generated, but I don't know why you would do that.
We have with AI, it's both good and bad.
Let's see. Proud Atheist said, oh, I read that already.
If something happens really bad, just blame AI. But also they create things, you know, it works both ways. If something happens that's really bad, maybe I'll have to just blame AI. But there's truth to it, because I see so many phony things. I saw something.
Says it. He just says it. Guys, if something bad happens, just blame AI. That's what I do. So since I can't explain that, I just blamed AI. He just told you what he's doing.
As I was growing up, from the time I was a baby till now, I said, who did that? It was AI generated. So it's a little bit scary, to be honest.
Wait. Did he just say, sorry, I was reading. Did he just say that stuff that he saw that he didn't understand since he was a baby? He's blaming did he say that? Am I crazy here?
But those windows
I go
are
back
all
30
heavily
seconds.
sealed.
Won't let me go back for some reason. Is that what he said? Since the 40s? It was.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to follow up with what you were saying regarding that federal appellate court that ruled against you and your administration as it relates to your ability.
Well, they ruled against our country, the court, and they ruled against us before. It's a very liberal court.
You called it highly partisan in your
Well, it certainly is.
They ruled against you, bitch. We showed it earlier. It was literally Gavin Newsom versus you, Pete Hegseth, and the Department of Defense. They ruled against you.
And in fact, it was along ideological lines, 7-4.
Well, except that we actually got one of the Obama judges that was appointed by President Obama voted in favor of the tariffs because he felt it was imperative for our country to thrive and survive.
Oh, they're talking about the tariff one. Okay.
Even. And I gave him.
No, first of all, that's not what he ruled. And that's not how judges rule. They rule on is this legal? Not on what should you do. This is another fundamental misunderstanding by a dipshit. Judges don't rule on do they think it's a sound idea? They're ruling on if it's legal. Right? So even him say he's putting words in the judge's mouth. The judges rule if it's legal or not. They're not making policy decisions here. But that's how he views courts, and that's how Republicans view courts, and that's why you guys get everything so goddamn wrong all the time, because anything that is in favor of Trump is right, and anything against him is biased politically, because you view everything he says is correct. Anybody who disagrees with him is biased, and they just don't get it. And the reason that you think that is because you don't get it either, but you think that Trump is just that much smarter than everybody, and we just couldn't possibly be smart enough to disagree with him.
credit. I said, you know what? That took a lot of courage for him to do it because you don't see that often.
So my question is, I suspect you're going to appeal that all the way to the Supreme Court.
Well, we already have, yeah. In fact, we're doing something else. We're going to be going to the Supreme Court, we think, tomorrow, because we need an early decision. I mean, look, the financial fabric of our country, we're a rich, incredible country right now, and we're able to, you know, other countries use tariffs on us for years, and we never did. I did a lot during my first term, but then we had COVID and we had to focus on other things. You couldn't be tariffing Italy, Spain, France, as they were dying by the thousands and millions. But we did with China, and China paid us billions and billions of dollars. And I started the process, but then I had to end it a little bit because of COVID. We focused on that. But no, it's a very important decision.
Yeah, this is like taking a garden hose, and you're like, everybody has a garden hose, and they use it to water their garden. And you're like, yeah, but you used it to flood the house. You're like, yeah, but other people use garden hoses. Nobody's arguing about tariffs, bud. And for the Republicans that are here, just so you can understand our position, nobody's arguing against tariffs. Tariffs are fine. They can be useful. But like all tools, if you use them incorrectly, they can be devastating. And he's using them incorrectly. They're not targeted. They're blanket. He's using them as leverage. And he doesn't have the leverage that he thinks he has because not everybody's a fucking moron. And so a lot of countries, when they say, like, when Trump's like, I'm going to slap a tariff on, and they think, can I sell this to somebody else instead? And if they can sell it to somebody else instead, then that tariff doesn't mean a goddamn thing, does it? And if they can still sell it to the United States, but people in the United States are willing to pay an extra 25%, that also doesn't affect you. You still sell it to the United States. You don't even have to take the hit from the customer. The customer doesn't even blame you for the price going up. The customer gets to blame their very own government. It is hands down, the dumbest fucking economic policy I've ever seen from any president. It is driving us into debt. It is alienating our trade partners. It is making goods in the United States more expensive, driving up consumer debt. There is not a single good thing that has come from these tariffs so far. Even the reshored manufacturing jobs that he is claiming, almost all of them were already in the works before tariffs. And none of them have been completed, so we can't even celebrate if they worked or not. We won't know if they worked for years or not, but we do know that American taxpayers are footing this bill. He also said he was visiting friends near the Potomac. I call BS. Walter Reed is near the Potomac. Yeah, and didn't Melania go to the Walter Reed? And there was a big, they said that was the reason for the motorcade being at Walter Reed, because she was like just visiting. I don't know. I didn't see any videos from that.
And frankly, if they make the wrong decision, it would be a devastation for our country. We've taken in trillions of dollars. And by the way, all these countries signed agreements, as an example. They're all happy. Everybody's happy. But some whack job put in a lawsuit. It went before a very liberal court, and the liberal court ruled, it was 11, they ruled 7-4.
Kim said, I hate odd numbers. Thanks, Kim.
With one of the most liberal of them all voting in our favor because they're patriots. I think I give tremendous credit to that judge. And now it's going to the Supreme Court. Now we're going to be asking for early admittance. We're going tomorrow, and we're going to ask for an expedited ruling. Because
can somebody explain her face, by the way? Why is she smiling at this?
You know, when you look at the stock market's down today, the stock market's down because of that. Because the stock market needs the tariffs. They want the tariffs. If you look at AI, all of those...
The stock market's just so hungry for tariffs. It's not how the stock market works, dude. The stock market is predicting that prices will go up because of tariffs. And now they're probably looking at like more insecurity. They think that not only are tariffs not available, you don't seem to have trade deals in place either. Like, I don't know. I haven't looked at the speculation from the stock market, but I promise you the stock market is not fueled by tariffs.
You know, all of that money that's going to be invested, trillions and trillions of dollars, the biggest thing, bigger than the internet, I suspect. It's the internet plus 3 or 4 other things combined. We are leading very substantially with AI.
What?
We're leading because of tariffs. We're leading because of talent, and this is where they'd like to be. But without the tariffs, we wouldn't have a chance because we wouldn't be able to protect those investments of the companies coming in. So,
One, we're not leading. Two, not tariff. You just sold chips to China just barely. And all China's doing is, by the way, China's just figuring out how to manufacture better chips than NVIDIA. The longer that you keep these NVIDIA chips away from the Chinese, the more they're just going to develop it on their own. And they're going to be better at it because they have better automation systems. And their grid can handle AI because of renewable energy. Tomorrow's show, we're going to talk about like the destruction that AI is causing in local communities because we're unprepared for it. But like we don't have the infrastructure ready for this, and we don't have the finances ready for this. We're talking about using non-renewable energy to power all of this. Why not have renewable energy so that that you're not paying for the power every time? At the same time, we're saying we are going to need historic amounts of energy. This administration is cutting energy production, at least renewable energy.
if you took away tariffs, we could end up being a third world country. That's how big the rule. So we're
except for so for 7 months of our country's existence, we've done it this way, and it's fucking us up. But the rest of the other 250 years that we've had without the dumbest fucking tariff strategy on earth, we were a third world country then. What are you guys? You cannot buy this shit. You just cannot buy this shit. There's no way you're buying this.
Asking for an expedited ruling.
As a backstop to that, President, you have a Republican-controlled Congress. You control the House. You control the Senate.
Yeah, but we don't have 60 votes. We don't have 60 votes. I'd love to do that. Oh, if we had 60 senators, if we got the 60 votes, we would get them. But we need 60 votes, and we need, a certain number in the House. I think we'd get, I don't know, we have about 5 of them here. Would everybody agree with me on tariffs? Without tariffs, we're a different.
Yes, sir. Literally anything. We will literally do anything that you ask at all times.
Country.
Yeah, you know what, Dana? I know significantly more about tariffs than this dipshit does. I'm not an expert on tariffs, but you don't like. It's like saying like I'm an expert at addition. It's not that hard. It's not that fucking complicated. A tariff is a tax that you put on American importers. So if I import something, I pay a tax. And then I choose whether or not I pass that additional cost along to the consumer who buys my product. It's not that hard. It's like me being able to walk, and you're like, if Trump's up there like, the best way to walk is on your hands. And I'm like, you know what? Feet. And you're like, oh, what are you, some sort of walking expert? No, it's not hard. You use your feet to walk. You don't be a fucking idiot. Right? This isn't hard. You don't have to. This is the problem with all of you. Figure it the fuck out. Research something. You're making a choice right now. You're watching me and this guy, and you're like,
which one do I think is more experter?
Read. Fucking read. And when he says China pays imports or tariffs, and you read the import tax is paid by American importers, you'll go, oh, I guess that he was wrong. But you won't do that because you're like, life is not this complicated. Don't be so goddamn lazy. Don't rely on him to tell you the truth. Go read. If I'm wrong, when you go read about it, you're going to find out that I'm wrong, aren't you? But instead, you're like, well, you're not an expert, and he's the president, so I'm going to believe him. Yeah, you're lazy. That's the Republican brand. That's why they love you so much. You are so goddamn lazy that they just tell you stuff, and they tell you that I'm evil, so it's like, oh, I won't listen to the evil guy. I'm going to listen to this guy because he told me. Just go Google it.
We have taken in so much money, and here's the thing. We signed a deal with Japan. They're paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. We signed a deal with South Korea. We signed a deal with the European Union. We signed a deal with Europe. And those countries are paying us $950 billion, and they're happy about it. They're okay.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They signed an agreement that is entirely unenforceable. This is private investment in the country. If they don't pay that money, fucking nothing happens. And it's not money that they are paying. They're saying that they're going to try and convince private money to invest in American companies, which if it makes sense, they'll do it. If it doesn't, they won't. This is an unenforceable contract. And if they don't send the money and Trump's like, fine, we're going to do tariffs, they're just going to adjust for that. It's either going to be worth it for them to send that money, or they're going to find a different trading partner. And if they find a different trading partner, that's better for them. They don't pay that money. All Trump is incentivizing all these other countries to do right now is go look for somebody else to trade with. To get off of get away from trading with America as much as you possibly can. And that is their plan. And then they're like, oh, then these manufacturing jobs will come back to America. Cool. How did that make your life better? How does that make your life any better? Why do you give a fuck if your spoon was made in America or if it was made in Finland? You don't. Who cares?
As one of them said, it's amazing that we got away with it so long. One of my friends, a leader of one of the countries, and they're fine with it. They all signed. If that ruling ever went against us, I guess we'd have to give back hundreds of billions. We would have to give trillions and trillions of dollars back.
I don't know. Like, did you see what just happened here? He just almost used a correct number and then he lied. We have not taken in trillions of dollars in tariff revenue, but he forgot. Real quick there, he forgot. Oh, yeah, I've been lying and saying we've been taking in trillions from other countries. One, we've taken in $0 from other countries. Two, it's not trillions. And three, I started this show explaining to you that Howard Lutnik, who's not there right now, is literally making money on this right now because companies are betting that this will be ruled unconstitutional and the government will have to repay that money, paying insurance for this so that when the United States government eventually has to pay them back, Howard Lutnik is going to get paid hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah. His own administration is betting against him because they think it's going to be ruled unconstitutional. You know why? Because it is unconstitutional. Because these powers are granted through Congress and the president doesn't get to set trade policy by himself. What a fucking stupid thing to believe. If you are a human being who believes a singular human in this country as president gets to determine our trade policies, you're out of your fucking mind. Go read a book. Of course the president can't do that. Of course the president can't unilaterally dictate our entire trade policy. Of course the president can't unilaterally slap taxes on American citizens. That's what Congress does. The president can't tax you by themselves. That's why his own administration's betting against him while they lick his balls in public, and they don't give a fuck about you. They're lying to you because they're going to get paid. And so they just need you to be along for the ride. The longer Trump can string this out, the more money Howard Lutnik and his sons are going to make. And, yeah, but Trump is right.
To countries that have been ripping us off for the last 35 years. And I can't imagine.
Oh, my God. Wild Jags, let me help you out here. Tariffs are taxes that we have collected. We have collected billions of dollars in taxes, not trillions. Trump said trillions, it's billions. It doesn't come from other countries, right? Why would we have to pay back Americans if it came from other countries? Our government is illegally, probably unconstitutionally, collected hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes on the American people. They have stolen from the American people, and they're probably going to have to pay it back to the American people.
It happening. On a legal basis, they have no legal basis whatsoever. But on a common sense basis, it would destroy America. Okay.
Hunter, we can see your comment. Just chill, dude. We see your comment one time. RTP also thought Biden was mentally there. You're not mentally here, so get fucked. Like, where are you mentally right now? Why are you talking about Joe Biden? Where are you mentally? Are you mentally in 2024 still? There's a new president, bitch. Try and keep up.
We talked about controlling the sky. On Sunday, the satellite signal of Ursula von der Leyen's plane was alleged.
With Ursula? Well, she had an interesting event. She's a tremendous.
All right, we're going to end it here. Dana said, then I guess you would understand why other countries have been taking advantage of the U.S. with tariffs. Guess what? They haven't been. That's another lie. You just believe shit because Trump says it. You just believe shit because he said it. How could them taxing their people be taking advantage of us? How does that work? God, you just think because Trump says stuff, it's real. It's not real. It's never real. He's a fucking idiot. I don't know how to convince you guys. Like, we just showed an hour of him being absolutely incoherent, and it won't work. Kim said, I'm old. I'm tired of his voice, his lies, and him. Same. All right. I forgot I have a doctor's appointment here and like a telehealth appointment at 2, so I got to get going. Guys, I'll be back tomorrow morning and every weekday morning.
Did you read the Venmos?
I was getting to those in just a second.
Okay.
Well, I'll just do them now. Julia said, Jerry Mandarin. Thank you. What did that say? Liam Neeson said, I love how when Trump goes 5 days without openly violating the Constitution, we just all assume he's dead. I was supposed to say, I thought Acapulco died with Jimmy Buffett out of solidarity. I didn't know. Jamar said he's just lying and rambling as per usual. Thanks, Alyssa, for the super chat. Doug said, working in Chicago, even though I got shot several times on my walk to work this morning, so I can help you pay your bills. Sorry about all the gunshots there. Shane said, Jay, they want law and order against those who want them. Oh, I read that one. Yeah. All right. I think I got that from everybody. Pretty sure
Did you check Cash App?
I did. I think we're good. All right, guys, I'll be back tomorrow morning, every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, usually later than that, right here, wherever you've been watching today. Thank you so much for helping us knock out that goal. No date night with Admir tonight, but maybe tomorrow night. I do have I do have a fun show for tomorrow. I hope there's not a bunch of breaking news today, because I want to get to this. If there is a bunch of breaking news, we may push it back, but tomorrow should be a fun show. We're going to talk about MAGA being Karens. For all the mods, thanks for all your hard work today, staying late, and thank you everybody for the kind and mean words. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.